It's okay, right? It's fine now. Okay, it's fine now. Okay, wait, oh my bad. Okay, yo, Kate, let's start with you.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I'm so sorry that I skipped your 3,000-word essay like during the thingy because I just kind of I already had this. It's like I already had this script. It's like a 4,000-word, 14-page essay. So I was really gonna like ramble on. So like I didn't wanna like dedicate that much time to like reading all the replies. But okay, so what were your main gripes with the statement? And in case people don't know what statement I'm talking about, is this statement right here, which is
right. You want to pull up your tweet or my tweet? All right.
I put up on my browser. Yep.
All right.
In case people are like in context.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Honkai Star Creep has a power creep problem only if you allow it to happen either by greed or stupidity. Change my mind. I don't want to hop on semantics for a hot minute because I think you've already spoken about that to death, right? Like, I don't want to tie it about by talking about the same thing, but I think it's pretty obvious, like, what you mean to say and what you did say in that tweet is different, right? Like, you've acknowledged that, right? Or have we not got to that stage yet?
Okay, the thing with this tweet is, I think the main issue. Wait. My chat keeps saying that my mic is dead. Yo, is my
I think every time you yell, I think like a gate or something is kicking on, and then you get like.
Do we want to just talk on the stream thing? Like,
that would be great. That would be great because my Discord is so
we'll just do that.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah, we'll just do that.
Okay.
On the what thing?
Yippee!
Oh, I gotta figure out how to do that.
What?
The stream thing. Yeah.
Wait, what are we doing?
I don't know how to do that.
What's good, boys? Yeah, choose a microphone. Actually, shit, I don't know how to do that either, boys. Hold on.
Wait, do I have to stream to do that?
I think so.
Oh shit.
Wait, what are we doing exactly?
Doing the knock thing.
Yo, boys, what are we doing?
I don't know. Hold on, I gotta figure this out.
We're doing the naughty thing.
Knock. What's good, V?
I'll buy me a drink first.
What is this? Oh, allow.
What's up?
Allow. Okay, wait, hold on. I have to figure this out. Boys, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Give me 2 seconds. That's audio output. Give me a second, boys. Microphone. Chat, this is scuffed. Hold on. Stream is delayed though. Well, yeah, I need to figure out how to get this shit to work. Allow.
Button if my stream crashes, then it's been fun. So okay, wait, I can.
Okay, I mean I could just try calling with Discord, but then bro, I don't know what's wrong with the app.
I don't think they can hear me.
Oh my god, legit! I swear something's wrong with my Discord. Like,
can you guys hear me?
Oh my god, bro! I don't know what's wrong with the app, bro. Like,
oh,
oh my god, legit! I swear.
What are we doing?
Like, it's just
have to go live back.
Okay, we're back.
What the fuck is happening?
Okay.
See you guys. Okay.
Third time's the charm, right?
All right.
So Mr. Focus chat a bunch of like 07 Connor. Sorry, see you later.
07.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Peace.
I'm so confused right now. So what are we doing? Are we having a conversation or not?
No.
We are having a conversation, but I'm having nuclear tech diff right now. I just don't know how to use Discord and like my.
Haven't you been lagging earlier? Like your shit is.
Nah, dude, no. Like every single time I use Discord, like the app, like the PC app, my stream will just crash, and I don't know why.
That's strange.
Yeah. Okay, hold up.
That's weird.
How's everyone's levels
is
now?
Everyone's volume okay? I think it's okay now, right?
They're
on Skype, true.
Yeah. Let's get on Ventrilo, yeah.
Get on
Vent.
Let's all go to Vent.
Get on Vent.
That in like 10 years.
Throwback, boys.
I know.
Back in the World of Warcraft days. Oh my god.
Yes, sir. Okay, bad.
Now the thing is, if I use Discord browser, the mic thing has a problem. That's why just now my mic sounds like it's like cooked because of Discord browser.
Is it just meet on Zoom? That's fine.
But does your mic sound shit for your
Zoom
stream?
is crazy. No, it's like when I use Discord browser, it's like I don't know, like I think the PC is using a second mic or something.
How are we doing?
But now it's like okay, if I was to use the Discord app. Yeah. But
Alright.
Yeah.
We good now?
Arguing semantics. I believe we were on that point.
Yeah. So I could just rephrase my point just to bring it back.
Right, absolutely.
So you said Honkai Star. I don't want to hark on about it for too long. You've already spoken about it to death. Honkai Star Rail has a power creep problem only if you allow it to happen either by greed or stupidity. Change my mind. And I'm saying what you mean to say and what you tweeted is different. And is that something that you like now acknowledge?
No. So what do you think I mean?
Acknowledge that.
Yeah, what do you
Ooh,
think? I mean,
Okay, I think that is a lot of the problem, right? Because
Okay.
Yeah.
I can bring up an example, right? I can say, Mr. Pokke, I will give you $1,000
Mm-hmm.
only if you do a backflip into your PC setup right now. Does that mean I'm gonna give you $1,000? Right? Like it's the same. It's the same
It
kind of
does
thing.
mean that you are gonna give it to me if I were to
No, it
do
doesn't.
that thing.
But
Okay,
it
so
doesn't.
so are
There's
you
a
gonna lie? So
condition.
if I do a
There's a
backflip in my PC,
condition.
you're not gonna give me $1,000. Then you're just lying. So why would you say
Right
that?
now,
Hold on.
yeah, I ain't giving you $1,000.
Exposed.
Yeah, I ain't giving you
Oh,
$1,000
okay.
for
So
doing
you're
that.
just lying for fun.
I
Oh,
give you
okay,
$1,000.
okay. Yep.
Wait,
Okay,
I,
okay, okay.
I
I,
like
I'm on
fun.
your side here, and I have no idea what the fuck that analogy.
wait,
was
I would
supposed
like
to be.
I
I'm
would like to
sorry.
pose a
I have no
question.
idea too.
I
man.
would like to pose a question. Forget
Bro,
the
legit
semantics.
started off this conversation. Yeah, let me just lie
it-
about giving $1,000.
No,
Bro,
Yeah,
as
that
an
definitely
example,
demonstrates my
like
point.
if I had
Oh, okay.
$1,000 to give, okay, I give you a dollar, right? If you did that,
Okay.
only if.
No,
the
Cap.
condition only
So if I'm-
means
okay.
something.
Okay, so if I were to do a backflip in my PC, would you give me $1?
Yes,
Okay, then what's the problem here then?
because the only if changes the
Oh,
statement.
okay,
right?
okay, yeah, exactly. Okay, let me
Because
phrase it
I'm
for
not
you,
going to
Mr.
I'm
Poke.
not going to give you the dollar, right?
Unless
Only
something
if.
happens.
Unless something exactly. So Honkai
So
Star
the
does
first statement is invalidated until that one condition is fulfilled that comes after the only if. Unless that only
So
if
yeah,
happens, the first statement is invalid. It does not
yes.
apply.
Yes. Honkai
Exactly.
Star Rail will not have a power creep problem if you were not greedy or stupid. Yes,
Okay,
that's how the
have
sentence
to
phrases
ask,
it.
how
Yes.
is greed applied here? I don't understand the term greed.
Greed is when
Yeah,
okay,
I
this
was gonna say the same
okay.
thing.
So okay, but I just want to make it like abundantly clear that I think that people might misunderstand the differences between power creep and the problems with power creep. Would you agree?
No,
well-
I
well,
think they're the same.
Do you think it's the same thing?
Yeah,
It's the same
yeah.
thing?
No, I think it's the
Does
same.
everyone here think it's the same thing?
Because there's a threshold, right? You could say there's a threshold, right? There's so much power creep that happens when it becomes so high to the point where it becomes a problem. Sure, then we could talk about all the different reasons that contribute to power creep, but the reasons that it exists is the same. Right?
Yeah.
All the things that cause power creep are the same. So it doesn't matter if it becomes a problem. The reason it becomes a problem, it will contribute to the same thing. It doesn't matter.
Well, and I don't think anybody's arguing here like that there shouldn't be power creep. Like look, we're all playing a gacha game here right now. Like power creep just comes with the genre. They got to sell the new characters. Like things are going to happen. So I don't think anybody's arguing that there will be no power creep
Agreed.
ever as well. Just like setting that baseline too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah,
But I do have a question though. I think what would really help clarify this is I want to know what made you come to the conclusion to tweet this. I think is the first thing, because forget the semantics.
Yeah.
I think realistically, like at the end of the day, I think you worded it poorly, but it's not because you said stupid or greedy, because I think you could say stupid or greedy without it. I just think it was very worded poorly. I think you say Star Rail has power creep, but a lot of people can change it if they're not stupid and greedy. I don't think the greedy and stupid part's the problem. The tweet came off as if you said no, that's not even the point. The tweet came off as if it said there was no power creep, but forget that. Put that to the side. Who the fuck cares? What made you come to this point where, like, did you see abundance of people complaining about this? Was it like a one guy situation? I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I genuinely want to know what was the purpose of this tweet? Like, where did you get to this conclusion? Because a lot of people have a different sentiment. So again, it's not like attacking you. No one's here to attack you except me because, you know, you beat me in poker, or I mean, the fucking game show. But I want to know, like, why did you say this statement? Like, what was the intentions?
Okay.
Or where'd you come up with
I need to. Yeah. Okay. Sure. I need to make this super clear though. You guys need to understand that having power creep and whether or not the power creep is a problem is two very different things. And this has to be established right now because it will be a huge factor as to why my argument was made in the first place.
Okay.
So the difference between whether or
enough.
not a gacha game is power creep is, for example, the best example right now, you shout out to Sarah, Xenon Zone Zero. So Xenon Zone Zero, we all know and we all agree, Miyabi is a direct power creep to Alan Joe, right?
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's no problem there in Xenon Zone Zero because Xenon Zone Zero doesn't make Alan Joe completely obsolete, even though Miyabi is a huge power creep. So there is no problem for, I would say, pretty much the entire player base as of now because the problems doesn't exist yet, despite the fact that the power creep exists.
Right.
Now, the difference with Honkai Star Rail is that the power creep exists, and this problem it is mainly getting experienced by the players who were stupid or greedy. So that is the entire premise of the argument. And my final line was try to change my mind on why do you think this power creep problem wouldn't affect you if you were not stupid or greedy.
Right.
But,
So
so the
any-
problem I'm still
Can I-
having here
can I-
is what do you hold on? What do you mean by greedy? Can you clarify for me?
Right, absolutely.
What is a greedy player?
Okay, a greedy player is basically a player that wants to prove for everything without spending money. I think that is pretty
Okay.
greedy, and it's
Okay,
not
I would
based on the
agree
factor
with that.
of it's not because like oh I need this brand new unit. There's a very big difference between need and want. So greedy players will
Mhm.
basically they just want everything, and they will just not save up all these strategies, and they will just get it. So that would be greedy. Yep.
Mhm.
Wait,
Okay.
that's
I
that's
don't think people will-
unrealistic considering the formula of gacha games. Like that's not greedy. That's just stupid.
Well, that's why it
Well,
says
no,
greedy and stupid.
yeah,
No.
and stupid.
Well,
Yeah,
so
no, no, I'm saying like you can just keep the stupid. Like the greedy doesn't make sense. Like it's just pure stupidity.
no, it is
No,
greedy as well.
It's not stupid to try and chase the shiniest new things because let's just be real. It's a gacha game. It's a waifus. They market it. No, people will want to
Of
prove for
course,
that because
of
they're
course.
greedy. So I don't think they're stupid for trying. But the stupid portion comes in when they are like trying to like collect everything, but at the same time they're expecting to not give a damn about team building. Specifically, I'm referring to Honkai Star Rail, not all gacha games, but Honkai Star Rail specifically, because in Honkai Star Rail, you can't really have a lot of freedom when it comes to how can you play the game, right? You can't just like perfect parry, Kara cancel, negative edge to make your units stronger than what they're meant to do. Honkai Star is just you build this team and you use them and it's done. So what's stupid about like these players are they don't want to care about meta. They don't want to chase meta. They just want to be casuals. But at the same time, they are expecting the absolute best results. They expect to full clear all endgame content. And I think that's a pretty stupid way to go about it.
Well,
For sure.
hold on.
Like,
The reason why,
being
hold on, I want to
entitled
push back. Hold on.
Endgame is like silly. I don't think anyone disagrees with that. Like, I should be able to clear whatever. Like, no one says that should be a thing.
I want to disagree with it slightly. Hold on.
Okay, sure.
That's why I want to interject here because I think if you look at Honkai Star Rail from 1.1 to like what, maybe 1. Let me check my sheet here. Maybe up to like 1.4, I would say like Memory of Chaos, you could have had a reasonably invested account like with that initial roster of characters, and you just wouldn't have had an issue with clearing Memory of Chaos to get 12 stars. If you had actually just like, and I mean like, you're putting your traces in, you're upgrading your relics, you're upgrading your light cones, like you could have like a fairly like casual free to play account and you could get a 12-star clear on Memory of Chaos. And so I think that set an expectation of players that, okay, even if I don't have all the exact right meta units, I can still clear this for the resources in the game. And then I think basically since probably 2.3 with Firefly, that's when we see like the crazy HP and damage ramp up. I think like Honkai has just like completely flipped the expectation of that endgame content, where now it's flipped from, well, it's no longer you just need to have a reasonably invested account. Now you need to have the exact right units or else it's just not even possible. And I think that's where more of the frustration is coming in, is because the expectation of that endgame content has completely changed for players.
Okay, Connor. Wait, Connor, do you play Honkai Star Rail? How much do you play this?
Yeah, I played since 1.0. I've played.
Do you
since
still
the
play?
start. Yeah, I'm technically a light spender. I'll buy like monthly passes, battle passes, and stuff, but I've never bought any major packs.
Okay. The main reason why I have a problem with this is because that is just demonstrably false. There is a much lower clear rate at the start compared to right now. People are actually having an easier time getting 3 stars in Memory of Chaos because they have an access to much more OP units, and the Memory of Chaos buff is extremely powerful. At the very start of the game, the clear rate was abysmal. Nobody had time to build with 2 teams. Nobody had time to pull for Sela Jing and everybody.
Because no one
It
had
was way
played the
more
game
difficult.
yet.
Yeah, exactly. Which is exactly
Doesn't make
the
any
point
sense.
where
No, but your
it is
argument doesn't
even
make
more.
any sense though.
What do you mean? Doesn't make any sense?
Because
Because
what you're
people
saying,
have way more time to actually play the game and
Yeah.
to get all the characters. So of course, eventually, when they invest in an account and in characters, like sure, like no one would disagree with that.
yeah,
Right, but-
like to say I don't mean to cut you off, but to say like the clear rates at the beginning are bad, I mean, yes, but also the expectation of that I could still get the clear if I'm skilled enough with the freedom of other characters. The clear rates got massively better because you have Super Break, you have Acheron, you have Facia, you have these other things, and people are more well versed in the game. That's like saying the Abyss rate clear rates in the beginning of Genshin were shit and now they're amazing, but the Abyss right now is still dog shit. It's in a bad spot because of HP inflation and partially due to power creep. So I get your point, but I feel like it's kind of hard to argue like, oh, the clear rates are better now. It's like, yeah, they're better, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a correlation because of the fact that power creep is not bad. I actually think
Yeah.
the clear rates are
Totally.
there because
Oh,
there's whales doing power creep. But yeah, you go. I
Power
want to
creep
hear.
is always going to be okay. I'm not trying to argue that power creep is good bad. It is always going to be bad. Gacha comp is a gacha game, is a predatory game.
Of
Power creep,
course.
it will always be a bad thing. So
Of course, of
I'm
course.
not trying to argue. The argument here is basically the problem whether this power creep is like going to be affecting your account. If you want to look at clear it right now, okay, we don't even need to talk about the start because if you want to consider that people aren't even investing right now, you have more tools technically to clear all these different endgame content, and they made this more accessible to players. So this would be a problem if you were someone that was greedy because you basically try to pull for the shiniest new things and you didn't save up enough to pull for this kind of like meta supports, or if you were basically stupid because you were expecting to full clear all of the endgame content while you didn't really give about meta in the first place. Should I speak slower?
Let me hold on. Let me
Yeah,
roll back
maybe.
here for a second. I see what you're saying. So let me roll back on like one of your earlier points though to kind of like walk through this. So in 1.0, like you're saying the clear rates were lower because it was like earlier on in the game life cycle. That makes sense because casual players aren't going to be like rushing to the end game content. So of course it's going to be lower. However, it does equalize with time. So those same casual players were then still able to clear with the same level of effort, even being casual players with the same roster of characters at the time. So that's my point, is that that was an expectation that was set, and then now they're changing that expectation. So as the new characters do come into the game, like that's fine, and I agree with you that I think a free-to-play player walking in trying to get every single character or expecting every single character is delusional. You're right. But I think somebody who is, let's say, even casually pulling, like, you know, getting one new character a patch, still keeping up and investing on those new characters as they come in. Like, I think it should still be achievable for those players on those accounts to clear the latest memory of chaos, but that's not the case. Like, now the expectation is shifted for, well, no, you need to basically be looking at leaks. You need to know which supports are coming, which characters are available, so that you can fine tune your account in like a really aggressively, like sweaty way, so that you have the capability to clear it. And I'm saying that's not what the beginning of the game was. And so that's why like that expectation has changed. If someone's like keeping up with it, again, pulling a new character per patch, investing in playing, they should have the capability of doing that. And I just don't think that's the state of the game right now. And that's why power creep has
Exactly.
become a problem.
Yo, V, sorry, you want to say
Plus,
something?
there's this pressure every single time and every single patch that you have to pick at least one unit. And without doing proper research, it may not be the right unit for you at the current time, where you will not be rewarded for said unit. If I remember, I think Sunday is good, but like he's good for particular units. So it didn't like encourage too much power in one's account, but it's a good future-proof investment considering the new path, from what I've heard, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, please.
No,
You can
sorry.
kind of
So-
relate.
I feel like
Yeah, go ahead.
the audience that you guys are arguing for here, like who are you guys trying to represent?
If you want me
I would say
personally,
the average player.
no,
What is the average player?
Yeah, me too. I'm a
The average players, I would
casual,
consider
like,
somebody like
every single day player.
myself who, I would say somebody like myself who, like, you're putting a little bit into the game, like you're buying monthly passes, you're getting battle passes, like you're not pulling on every single character that comes. You're pulling on, you know, probably at least one new unit like per play. Like I think that is like the majority of the player base. I don't think the majority of the player base is buying $100 packs. Obviously, there's gonna be free to play in there, but I think from the perspective that I'm speaking from is that average kind of level.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep. Go for it, V.
for example, I think you spoke of, like, okay, so the type of players you're encouraging in the sense of your argument, from, if I understand correctly, I just want to make sure I understood what you said, is a player that basically is wise and smart enough in how about they go about the structure of their account, yet are not like greedy and stupid in the sense of being weak to the predatory tactics that these gacha games employ, where they want to get every single unit in the game.
Yes.
Without these two, if you have if you're smart and you do your research slash you're good at the game, plus you're not weak to these predatory tactics, there's technically no power creep problem. Is that it?
No, sure. Okay, so I think the issue with this like average player demographic, I think it's a little bit not represented properly, because if you want to talk about average player, the average player, they don't really care about clearing these endgame content, much less clearing endgame content with like full 3 stars. Like I'm talking about Miracles and Pure Fusion. Because like if you want to take a look at like the statistics, right, less than like I think 10 or like 5% actually even attempted to go ahead and do the final stage out of like hundreds of thousands, not millions of players in Honkai Star Rail. So for these majority of players that do not bother themselves with this content, even till this day, whether or not they are pulling for meta or not meta, or whether or not they're playing their pools, it doesn't matter to them because they can just pull for whoever they want and they can still have fun in Honkai Star Rail. Because Honkai Star Rail, they probably just play the story, they play as you play whatever, and they just move on. If let's just say there are players that want to, they pull for who they like, they try to save up for 1 unit per patch, maybe it's meta, maybe it's not meta, whatever, and they still want to attempt to clear this endgame content, it wouldn't be the end of the world for them if they didn't get the full 3 stars. Because the difference between a 3 stars, like 33 or 36, is literally 80 strategies. That it's fundamentally like
I agree.
it doesn't change anything,
And
right?
that's how I've been playing. That's how I've been playing recently, and I'm not gonna lie, it feels good.
Okay,
I
Right,
agree with
exactly.
this sentiment
Wait,
exactly. So like,
100%.
But I want to interject for a moment because I don't disagree with what you're saying. Like, excuse me, I think the overall statement of, hey, if people are just saying, hey, I want to pull this shiny unit, there's no synergy here, or I want every single character and they wind up losing every 50-50 and they're poor, those people are stupid. I'm with you 100%. I think the problem in lies though, like,
absolutely.
I think the problem lies though, like, for example, if I remember correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong, but you said something about pull smarter. I think the hard part is how can you pull smarter in the game when we look at someone like Ron May or Sunday, where a general populace, not even just endgame players, don't know that Ron May is going to be super break viable until 2.2 when she comes out like 1.4, 1.5, or Sunday, everyone knows mid yuan, right? But people are going to skip Sunday due to the fact that, hey, listen, he's really not that great. He's just going to buff, mid yuan, and then come 2-3 patches later, whatever it is, they're going to be the best in slot for the next year. I think the problem is I think the problem is the way they place these characters. Like someone in my chat said, it's like you have to put a sticker on it saying, hey, not that they should do this, but like, hey, we're delivering a meta around this new unit. And right now it doesn't look like they synergize with anyone currently, but give it 4 months or 2 months and they're going to be the best in the game. And then you're going to feel stupid for not rolling for them. So I don't think the problem is necessarily these casuals, at least for me personally. I just don't understand this pull smarter tactic. I think what HSR is doing is they're power creeping and they're being more predatory in the sense of selling characters and these kits before they could be fully fleshed out, and then people just skip and then they feel stupid and it causes more FOMO. That's what I think the issue is for me personally.
Like we all remember the time when Ruon May was first kind of spoken about. Should we pull for her? Should we not pull for her? And it was a very much like it was a highly debated topic at the time, right?
Ruon May was a no-brainer. Ruon May was
No,
a
it wasn't.
no-brainer. If you didn't think she was a no-brainer,
She wasn't, but there was still a lot of discussion about her though, about how just no one could predict just how important she would have been.
I'm gonna tell you why she was a no-brainer.
To the extent that she is. To this, she's a no-brainer because of what she does, but at the time, all right, what?
Look, it's just Kazuha. Remember Kazuha and how Genshin did it? The Hoyoverse does this all the time. They've done this in their previous games.
I think you're missing the point. I think you're missing the point. No. The problem is.
No, I'm not missing the point. I'm just saying is they do this a lot. Like supports that are somewhat generic. Like for example, Shorekeeper in Wuthering Waves. If you don't have Shorekeeper right now, it's rough. Like you gotta wait for that rerun because she's the most generic character in the game. Ruon May was pretty much that, in my opinion, for Honkai Star Rail. Correct me if I'm wrong in the meta perspective of it all.
Okay, VSV,
Right,
you're not wrong.
But
No, I'm sorry. I'm just saying everyone that knew how the game worked knew that not even when Run May was teased, like before she even came to her banner at 1.6, by 1.5 they dripped it. People that know how this game works would know that she's broken. Because we have not gotten a single Harmony support banner up until Run May. So people were basically just using like Bronya and Tingyun. Bronya, Tingyun, Pella. So if you didn't have any of these, you literally had no other supports in this game. Because for the past 14 banners from 1.0 to 1.6, it was just 10 DPS, Silver Wolf, Luo Cha, Huan Huan, and then there's like and Fusion, right? So like this was the first ever support banner that released. So I'm pretty sure that most people that know what's going on knows that she's gonna.
Okay, the point is I'm not disagreeing with that like at all. The point is people didn't. I'm not saying most. A lot of people didn't understand just how good she would have been. That's the point. Did people know that she was going to be like the best in slot that you would have needed for super break teams at the time? No. People didn't think that would have scaled to that extent.
Yes,
people knew she was good, but not that good, right? Like that's really the point. But
the thing is, people don't need to know she is that good to prove her though, because at that given point of time, at 1.6, people know she is good. They don't know if Super Break is a thing. They don't know if Firefly is coming out. They don't know all that. But based on whatever they had right there and then, she is super, super good. And it would be foolish to skip her, even if you didn't know that Super Break is coming.
Yep.
What would you consider pulling smarter then? Because in my understanding, because again, I understand what you're saying, I understand what V is saying, but I feel like this is, and obviously other gachas do it, but I think HSR takes it to a completely different level because they do it over and over and over again. They've done it with multiple units. I don't want to get into, we'll get into specifics later, but how can someone pull smarter? Like, how can someone say, hey, I need to get this character because I know, especially for the general population, like I feel like it's a really big stretch to say just pull smarter forehead. And we'll get to pull distributions in a moment because they obviously don't reward you the way that like people are saying pull smarter. Like you'll say that, but like how is that if the meta is changing so consistently? You pull for Kafka, then DOT kind of gets put on the back burner, then
And
Super
therein
Break
lies the problem.
happens,
Yep.
and then after that, it's
Yep.
like there is. To say pull smarter, I understand. I don't necessarily disagree with it, but in this game, there isn't an easy roadmap for that. It's very unpredictable, and I think the meta shifting so constantly.
Can I add
Yeah.
to this too?
Oh, for sure. I'll shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no. Go.
No, I started to think like there's also we have to bring into the conversation the fact that Honkai Star Rail is kind of not unique, but in the sense of the rate at that 5 stars are being delivered to people is not a conversation that's like really been had yet in this whole discussion.
There we
The
go.
rate at the 5 stars come
And
out,
there we
and
go.
also the lack of polls that come with that too is I think a very like a conversation that we should have because it's a thing because it contributes to people
That's-
not being able
yeah.
to pull as regularly, not being able to do these things, and it makes the free to play casual experience like not as nice thing to do. Even if you're a light spender, like I already made a tweet about it. Like if you're a light spender, you get the battle pass, the monthly thing. You still don't have enough pulls in a whole patch of 3.0 to even guarantee one of the like 8 people that's going to be on like the banners, right? That's what not feels good to people. And that contributes to power creep because there are so many options now being fed to you. It's like, what do I do now? Do I continue to invest in like the teams that I had from 2.0, 1.0? Or do I be like, you know what? I'm going to bank on that next like support that's going to come for like the summons team. Like what like it's people have a hard choices to make and be presented with 8 banners, not as many rewards. Like I even made a thing. Honkai Star Rail gives you less pulls per character than Genshin Impact does, which is kind of crazy, right? So why are we not having these discussions? The actual discussions that really matter to free to play and casuals.
Yep. Okay, so the reason why that's the case is because you don't need every single character in Honkai Star Rail. This is really just that simple. They offer you a lot of different units in Honkai Star Rail. It doesn't mean you have to pull them all. So this, I think I saw a tweet where you basically showcase how every single patch you are given as complete free to play, roughly 100-ish pulls, but that is not guaranteeing you a hard PD, which is roughly 160 or like to 180, right? That was your main gripe. So if you can't even hard guarantee a single unit per patch, then there's a huge problem. Okay, my problem with this is it's kind of arguing in bad faith because you're using an extreme example of like, okay, if this person can't hard PD, it's really reset. While on the flip side, I could make the exact same argument. You can just be lucky and getting a tempo. So I don't really like this arguing for like
averages. The averages and statistics are involved in this, true. But how do you think about the premise of the rate of 5 stars being delivered to us? Do you think that it's totally fine? And do you think the amount of pulls per character is good when compared to like Genshin or other ones where it's significantly less per character? Do you think that is okay?
Right. I feel like it's okay because you can make use of this without pulling for every single unit. Would it be better if we had more? Absolutely, right? If we have more pulls, it's never going to be a bad thing, right? If you can have access to more teams, if the devs gives you more, if devs listen, it will always be a good thing. But the thing is, the reason why this is mainly a problem, and back to my original tweet, which is for the greedy or stupid people, is because they didn't know how to properly invest in their teams in the first place. So I think a excellent example that's been brought up by a lot of people is DOT, right? So there's this saying that if you invest in DOT, right, you pull for a Kafka, you pull for a Red Swan. That's basically, let's just assume that you won both 50-50s. That's like what, 160 pulls. So if you invested 160 pulls in the DOT, and all of a sudden the release phase out, which is like broken, right? She's gonna be dealing a lot more damage, not Firefly, all these new archetypes, and it will make players feel that, oh shit, my investments in DOT, they are completely wasted, and I should just go ahead and pull for the brand new units right now. The inherent flaw with this is that DOT is not useless. You can quite literally still use DOT to clear endgame content to this day. Is it going to be the fastest team? No, it is not going to be the fastest team, and I think people that feel that DOT is dead now, they might not even be arguing for clearing endgame content 3 stars. They might just be thinking, oh shit, my DOT last time they used to clear like 2 cycles, 1 cycles. Now they're performing like 3 or 4 cycles. And to them, that is a problem, which I feel that also screams a little bit of entitlement because it has been basically 1
I
year.
don't. I
Go
disagree.
for it.
I disagree with entitlement. No, because people do spend money on this game, right?
Right.
So when we talk about entitlement, oh, they're entitled to this, entitled to that. These people that say might have spent for like a Black Swan or Kafka or whatever, like lightly spending, whatever it is, had some monetary investment in it, and they got nothing to compare their dot teams to like the Fei Xiao. That does make
I don't think
people
we're
feel
arguing.
like, oh, my investment, my monetary investment that I had in these teams doesn't actually stack up to a monetary investment that I could put in like physically for a Fei Xiao.
Okay,
Right?
wait, Case,
And I
I
don't
want to ask
think
you
we're
something.
arguing. Hold on, we're not arguing either that like somebody's not getting a 1 cycle clear from like a low spender perspective. Like that is absurd. I think to be like, oh, I'm gonna 1 cycle clear. Oh no, now it's 2 or 3 cycles. Like we're talking about like full star clears, right? We're talking about like making it within 10 cycle clears. And I think like that's more so the issue is people are still having difficulty making a 10 cycle clear as opposed to a 3 cycle.
I want to hear
Yo,
Pokke.
Connor,
but-
that was yeah,
Yeah.
Connor, that was exactly what my thought was. Like I think a couple of hours ago, I thought people were arguing DOT can't even clear in 10 cycles. But after I had a pretty interesting and I saw how people were replying, there might be a lot more people than you think that are just expecting the DOT to clear in 2 to 3 instead of clearing in 10 cycles. There's actually a lot
They're
more.
stupid.
Oh, but
And
Yeah, they're stupid.
you know,
I
I want
would
you to
say
finish
that's
your point.
delusional.
Yeah, finish your point.
Yeah.
Finish your point. I want to.
yeah, no, but back to Kate, right? So Kate, you mentioned that they invested a monetary investments into DOT. So
Assuming,
they
just
will feel bad.
assume, a scenario.
No, okay,
where
let's just assume
someone
that they
does,
spend money.
right?
Let's just assume they spend money for DOT,
Right.
right? They spend money for it. And then now they see Fei Xiao coming out and clearing in 1 or 2 cycles. I think my question with that is, so what if Fei Xiao clears in 1 or 2 cycles?
I have the question. I have the answer for that, though. I have the answer for that, and that's what I was about to say. The so what is that was 3 patches later, and that's the problem.
Right?
Because the best, correct me if I'm wrong, the best in slot DOT is Black Swan in 2.0 drops, and then also Sparkle drops in 2.0. Both of them are Sparkle's high key obsolete.
Yeah.
The second Acheron drops, so people feel stupid
Literally.
for pulling for that because of the fact 2 patches later that Bibbidi Libbidi Skibbity team is now fucking dog shit. Even if you have E2 or you need E2 and Bibbidi Skibbity Libbity to get it to make it worthwhile. I think that is the problem, that they're moving so fast. I don't care that the meta is moving.
Exactly.
I don't think that's the problem. Like the meta has to move. Realistically, Honkai Star Rail is on an
the
open
speed.
world game. The whole thing is team compositions, and they make endgame content around different types of playstyles. I think that's 100% valid. But how it's not entitlement, and forget the money part. I think it's just a frustrating situation where if I rolled DOT and Sparkle in 2.0 and come 2.2, they're fucking dog shit. And could they potentially clear, let's say in 3 or 4 cycles? Yes. And obviously we're talking about like 80 Jades at max. Fuck the Jades. I don't think that's the point.
Yeah.
The point is the game is moving so fast and introducing such predatory tactics at a fast rate with little extra rewards given. That is the problem.
Exactly.
I'm not going to speak for everyone else in this call. My problem is not the fact that Powercreep
Like
exists.
Sunday. Sunday also like
Sunday-
kind of like replaces Sparkle in a way, right? Like fuck Sparkle, just use Sunday.
Fuck
It
it.
doesn't really matter. Like,
No,
they
but
do different
Sparkle
things.
Sparkle
Like,
didn't even matter because of the fact that you got all these other units legitimately 2 patches later that don't use Sparkle.
Yep.
That's the problem. And then
What's even more hilarious about Sparkle, actually, since we brought up Sparkle, is Quantum Harmony. We have a brand new support that's like the second Harmony after Sparkle, which is also Harmony Quantum, which is the same damn colors that Sparkle has, like making her even more obsolete due to recency.
Look, I'm just gonna back off the previous statement though. Like, I think if somebody is like a free to play or low spender and you're expecting to do like 1 cycle clears, yes, I do think you're delusional. I think like the baseline here is like the 10 cycle clear for max rewards. If somebody has a problem with that, like you're not spending, you're not doing that, and you're not playing for meta, and you want to do that free to play, like I'm sorry, like come back to reality a little bit, okay? I'm just backing off that part.
All right, how about we shift the conversation a little bit to things that might actually be useful for like players in general.
Yeah.
Right, like topics that might
Well-
be useful.
Well,
For
wait,
example,
can
I
I
think
ask a
like,
question before we do that? I want to hear Poke's response though, because I want to hear like because you asked that question and I gave an answer. I want to hear your rebuttal because maybe I'm wrong. Like I could 100% be wrong, but I just want to hear like. You're saying it's not a big deal. I'm saying the problem is that it is a big deal because it's 2 patches later, they're dog shit. So that's my question. Maybe let me not say dog shit because someone in chat's gonna say, well, actually, Ethan, you could clear with it. So what do you think? Like that's my problem with it, that it moves so fast.
Okay, I think this really just boils back down to why did the player pull for whatever unit they want to pull in the first place? So I'm just gonna automatically exclude all of the players that put a unit for like waifu husbando, because if that's the case, that's because they're waifu husbando.
Yeah,
It doesn't
who
matter
cares?
how.
Yeah, fuck,
Yeah, so we'll
fuck 'em.
only care about the players who are pulling just for the sake of like endgame content, right? Clearing the memory kills and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So if we only talk about this group of people, first of all, if you were pulling for endgame content only, you would have to admit that this wouldn't have a pretty good impact on your account, because you're essentially spending what 70, 80, 90 or 100 pulls for potentially a couple of like teeny weeny amounts of jade. So we can first
of a pool.
acknowledge, so we can first acknowledge, if you were pulling for endgame content from the very start, you are probably not a very smart person, especially for that specific endgame content.
Yeah, for
which
sure.
honestly has been very prominent, because like Miko, they always upsell the banner rate up, right? Like when Dale came out, there was a trotter that deal bonus damage. Right now, there's two trotters that, this AoE is gonna be very good for big Herta. And then like they always do this every single time for new DPS unit comes out. So I would say that a camp of people that put for specifically DPS, I wouldn't say everyone, but they probably thought that, oh shit, these brand new DPS units look so broken because this Memory of Chaos buff in them looks so much better. And now it's like all my other old units, they used to have this Memory of Chaos buff, which is now no longer going to be for them. They feel that it is like dog shit, right? Like what I said, dog shit is like, oh my god, it's unplayable, it's so much worse. And now they get greedy. They want to pull for these brand new units, when in reality, they frankly did not have to do that. Because whether or not you pull for these brand new units, it wouldn't change the fact that you already spend money for your old units. It's kind of like the whole DOT thing. Even if you saw that Fei Xiao was like a super, super strong unit that came out, it doesn't change the fact that bro already spent like 160 to 180 pulls for DOT, which means that if they keep chasing this cycle, they always chase the new thing, they always chase the new DPS, it's always stronger and stronger and stronger. Yeah, sure, they can still clear, but I just want strong and strong units. This will lead their account to the point where all of these old units they put is basically worthless, because they just gave up investing, but they already spent all these strategies in the first place. So it led to this, they keep chasing this new thing, but in return, their entire account as a whole is not that good, because they keep just chasing.
So I get you, and Kat, please tell me to shut the fuck up if you want to move forward. But then my question or / response to that is, because again, I literally just want to hear you out. I'm not trying to change your mind. But then
Sure.
what do you think is pulling responsibly? Like, can you give me a map right now of what? And I'm not trying to be facetious about this. I'm saying like, okay,
Right.
if someone gets Sparkle and they had Imbibitor Lune, and now we're going off the deep end, because now then Acheron comes out and like, oh fuck, that looks good. Like I get your perspective, but so then how can someone sit there, even if they're endgame or maybe they're not looking at leaks, how can someone effectively try to map this out in a way where they don't know, what if all these 2.0 characters are now going to be obsolete in 2 months with 3.0? That's my question. Oh yeah.
Can I add on to that? I just want to add on
Of
that
course.
a little bit. Like, everybody knows, especially Honkai Star Rail, supports are like the number one thing you should always look out for, right? I think we all agree.
It's in
Like,
all games.
supports are
to be honest.
supports are number one. No one is denying that. The big brain move, always go for the big brain support character. But when it comes to the DPSs in Honkai Star Rail, I just want to talk about a narrative that goes around a lot. You still want to pull for a DPS for your teams. Like that's the core of what whole archetypes are built around. But a lot of the time, with a lot of these DPSs, we see like content creators say things like E2 Dill. E2 Dill makes him really good. E2 Acheron. Oh yeah, you want to do E2 Acheron. You don't like that. Oh, guess what? Like all this thing, and suddenly it's like, okay, now you want me to pull for 3 copies of the DPS that's probably going to be irrelevant in like how many patches? Like that's also a conversation to have. The amount of like
actually,
FOMO and
it's more dangerous
incentive.
than that. I want to add something to that one. It's more dangerous than that, because I saw this guy. He said, I E4'd my character just to make it last longer, so that way it doesn't get power crept faster.
Right.
What character?
Yeah, it's like what you said, E2 deal. Like you E2 it just for the sake of it'll last longer.
Future proofing. You want people think that.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people say like, oh, you need E2 Dill for him to like work properly, or E2 Acheron for her to perform at her best, or same thing with like E2 Firefly. like they hide so much power between the first two eidolons of these characters, and that's also important.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's also important to recognize, like, oh, you could pull for these DPSs, but really, you might want to pull for like one or two of them, and screw the light cones or grab the light. If you're pulling for an E1 of a character, you're probably also going to get the light cone. You're probably spending money right at that point, because no free-to-play person is pulling for a light cone if you're not stupid and greedy, right? So that's
Okay,
something to keep in mind.
so the main point is, do y'all have like a problem with like people pulling for Eidolons? Like, is that the main point here?
No.
No, I
No,
don't think
I'm
so.
saying
I,
it's not
No, no one's
realistic
saying
to
that.
say that
No one's saying that.
casuals should actually get copies in order to future-proof their older units. I think that's bad.
That's bad.
I think
So it
Eidolons
is
are
a problem.
dog shit.
The problem,
it is bad.
the problem is that, but the problem is with like
Well, it
Honkai
makes them
Star
more
is not
expensive,
only
man.
do you need, yeah, but not only do you need horizontal investment in the game, you also need vertical investment to future-proof these old teams. And that is why a lot of
Exactly.
people feel frustrated. Like, oh, I need to pull for these new supports coming out and be clever in how I pull. But also, if I don't want to be stupid, I should also vertically invest in the teams that I already have so they can keep up and not feel like total dog shit. That might be pulling for the light cones in the rerun, pulling
Okay,
for the
sorry,
Eidolons. That's
okay,
what
so-
people don't like to do. Because
Sorry,
it's a
okay, so
gacha game. You pull for cool characters, right?
Right. Can we
Exactly.
really define, like, do you need them or do you want them? What do you define as need?
Okay, here it is. Okay, here it is. Here it is. I think this is something that Cav just touched on, and I've been waiting for an opportunity to say this. When we say gacha games and characters, these games make these characters for the design and towards the goal of collectability. They want you to collect these things. They're collectibles. I think we can all agree on that. Through power and through, of course, their designs, it's for them to be more appealing. But the main point, if you ask these gacha developers, what's the end goal? We want you to pull every single character. There's no character is coming out for it not to be pulled except Dea for obvious reasons. Now, beyond this, yeah, I know, I'm coming to it. So beyond this, beyond collection, they keep pushing this thing in a very fast pace, which makes it too big of a problem to ignore, where what I've collected already feels almost irrelevant, except supports. I think the only one that doesn't feel irrelevant, in my opinion, is Robin and Ruwan Mei, maybe Huehue. And I think those are the only ones that feel like still somewhat of solid units. The rest already feel like completely irrelevant. About Bebe de Lune, that's my favorite unit. I do not own it at E2, nor am I interested in getting E2 because, simply put, it's not a new unit at that point. Yes, it's better. It plays somewhat different, but it's not a brand new
He plays like
experience by me
but
getting
that's the
it.
point though. He plays like a whole new character at E2. And that's why it is the whole meme of E2 deal. He literally plays kind of like a whole new character, and you play him in a whole new way with teams. And that's a problem with, like, I say Honkai Star Rail in general. You don't actually get full kits of characters until the first or second
like
Eidolons.
Acheron.
That's kind of a problem. I don't like that. I
It
think
is.
that's
It's
kind
a
of a shitty
trap.
thing, and that contributes to like the whole the whole conversation. So like
Right.
locking
and-
actual usefulness of their kits behind that is just a little dumb in general.
Yeah, I think
go
so.
ahead,
Just to define need, to make it simple, like, because I don't think we still have really like defined need in this situation. Need for the old units is to keep them relevant, like, as the game continues to progress, as Power Creep and Memory of Chaos gets more and more difficult, the need becomes you need to continue to vertically invest in those old teams in a game in which the incentive is to pull and use different characters. And like, because like, let's be real here, nobody wants to keep pulling Eidolons on old characters as the new characters come out. And I don't think that's a greed thing. Like, I think that's how these games are designed. There's a new story, they make you like the characters, you want to pull new copies of them. So people want to feel like that as they're pulling on these new characters and progressing, that they can still keep up with the game and not be hard locked to, oh, I gotta get 2 more copies of Dan Heng, or I need to keep pulling for Kafka Eidolons. I don't know if you want to talk about Dot. Like, people don't want to be stuck in the same team that they have had since 1.0 going into 3.0, so they can still clear Memory of Chaos with an old team. And like, that seems to be the problem, where if you want to do that on like an E0 team comp, like, you have to be pulling the new units, and then to do that you have to make sure you're pulling all of the exact right units so you can have the perfect set to then keep up with the content. So like, I think that's like need in this situation, and why like that sucks. Can we all agree here that if you're forced to keep
not
pulling
just
Eidolons on an
power.
old team so you can't keep
It
up with
goes
the new
against
characters,
really
like,
what
that
like a gacha
sucks.
game is. It kind
I
of goes
feel like it
against
would-
the whole essence of a gacha, of like collecting.
It would be really bad, like, if you need to pull for E1 Jingliu or like E1 Silla or like E1 Jingyuan, because if you don't pull for like these Eidolons, they are like users. That would be really bad. But the thing is, you don't need them though, because you can still quite literally clear the endgame content with the old units without needing Eidolon investments. Like you don't need them. You want them, like sure, like for example, you want E2 deal because E2 deal feels so much better than E0 deal. But the thing is, you don't need them specifically
Okay,
just for the sake
well,
of clearing endgame.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Let's talk about.
Wait, I just need can we just hear an outline again? I'm not trying to be facetious. What is the outline of pulling smart? Like I feel like this has never been addressed yet in any of the conversations had with anyone else. And again, I'm
it's
not trying to be a
simple.
dick.
Oh, it's
No,
simple,
VV,
man.
I want to hear him
Do
say
your
it.
research.
No,
Okay,
stop.
yeah, sure,
I'm
sure.
trying to be facetious,
But-
like legit. I want to hear it. Like what?
Okay, so if
Yeah.
let's just say if I were to start an account right now, right, completely fresh, zero money, nothing. Like if I were to
Yeah.
start an account right now, the smart decision for me would be to first pick up Herta.
Yeah. Shout out
That
to
is
Bob.
the smart
Okay.
choice.
So
Yeah, shout out to Bob. Yeah.
So Bob gets Herta. Okay.
So from this point onwards, there are a lot of ways you can go about it. Because especially in a 3.0 banner, where there are 8 different banners, right? So there are a lot of ways that could potentially split you from being the smart pool or the bad pool. The bad pool would be if I want to rush and build like all these different team comps. I want to pull Aglea because Summon is gonna be a meta. I want to pull for Boot because Boot is built. I want to pull for Lingsha. Like if I want to pull for all these units, that is not a smart choice. Because you don't need those units, especially not when you literally just start out playing this game right now. The smart choice will be to, okay, I just put for D Herta. How am I going to make this Herta unit even stronger so that she can help me throughout my progress in Honkai Star? And I see, oh shit, that's Robin. That's a pretty damn good unit. That's a pretty damn good unit of Herta. She works with pretty much everybody. It's Honkai Robin rail.
Yeah.
Pulling for Robin here would be a smart choice. If you decide to pull for Herta, but you skip Robin and you decide to, you know what, I'm going to pull Aglea, or I'm going to pull Boothill, or I'm going to pull like Silver Wolf, right? These are not smart choices because you are basically trying to build all these different archetypes, which you don't need. Because nobody's forcing to speed run the end game like
That's
right
not
now.
really smart pulling. I would call it resource management.
It is basically being smart with resources.
Well,
There's no
well,
difference in
so then, but then,
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
still think
it's-
it's being smart pulling. But then my point still is, what happens when Herta? There's a character that's introduced 2 or 3 patches later that just outshines Herta, and now
and so be it.
So
then
I
so be
get
it.
that, and I'm
But
and
isn't
again,
that, but
wait,
isn't
wait,
that
hold
the
on.
core of the whole problem?
No,
though?
exactly.
But the thing is, you
So,
can't.
yeah, you go. I want to hear what you have
Sorry.
to say. Yeah, no, I want to
Nah,
hear
but
you. I wanna
okay, the
hear you.
thing is, right, if you want to prevent this from happening, it's just not possible because this is baked into
Exactly.
pretty much every
No,
single gacha
exactly.
game. But it has nothing to do with the decision of whether or not this power creep is affecting your account to the point where it's a problem. It's just specifically about whether power creep exists. Power creep will always exist, whether or not you want it or not. But whether it's a problem for you as a player, especially somebody I'm just gonna be assuming you want to clear enemy content, that is completely up to you, right? Let's just say they release a new DPS that makes it like so much more stronger than D-Herda. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden the amount of money I spend or the amount of proof I spend with D-Herda is wasted. Because I will still use D-Herda. I will still use for all the enemy content as much as I can, and I will try to make use of the resources I have so that she can be viable. I don't care if the brand new unit is like sure I could try to prove for them. I could be better, right? It's super cool, but I don't need them.
But wait,
And that
here's
is
the thing,
problem
though.
of it.
I think you're framing it. I think you and me are almost on the same page, but I think the framing is completely different. I have no control over the fact that they're dropping a unit better than Herta, and maybe that doesn't negatively impact the account, but it negatively impacts the players because they feel like they are wasting their time. Forget money. Fuck the money. Let's say they're free to play. They're wasting their time, and so that is not a problem. Because, okay, why would I sit there and build Herta and then 2 patches later, Bob comes out? Shout out to Bob. Bob got put into the game. It's no longer EOS. Bob absolutely power creeps the fuck out of Herta in the sense it just does way more damage. Now, obviously, Herta could still clear in 3 to 4, or maybe let's even say 5 cycles, but Bob is out here 0 cycling with new supports that are on all 8 banners. By the way, we haven't even got to the 8 banners yet, which we'll get to in a moment. But the problem is that you feel like you're wasting your time and your Jades don't have the same value as a Primo Gem or an Asterite because of the fact that you're moving on so fast. So maybe me particularly, I am not moving on, but the game is moving on so fast to the point where it feels like, why am I even bothering? That I think is the framing.
It comes down to the rate of 5 stars. It's
I
again
feel-
the same conversation.
I feel like this. Okay, let's just say Bob, right? This
Bob, yeah.
feeling that you're feeling. Okay, let's just say Bob comes out and he completely power creeps her, right?
Yeah.
This feeling that you're feeling that you need Bob is the exact feeling I'm describing in my.
No,
tweet,
it's not
which
that I
is
need.
greed.
It's not that I need Bob though. It's not that I need Bob. It's the fact that I feel like, and a lot of players feel this way. It's not that I need Bob. It's like, wow, this feels fucking stupid because this
What do you
character
feel?
eclipses.
So
I'm
what do you feel
feeling
when Bob came out?
that if I'm feeling that when I pulled Bob, excuse me, when I pulled Herta, but now Bob comes out and Bob does everything Herta does, or maybe something a little bit different and completely eclipses it, the game is a waste of time. why am I spending my hard time grinding 10 hours a week or 20 hours a week, whatever it is, to get these free pulls when Bob is just literally 2 months later stops Herta? It just doesn't make sense.
So are you? So hold on, like we've already established that like power creep is a thing. So it's like the argument you're making in this situation is that Bob is releasing too close to Herta, and so it feels extra
Yeah.
bad. But if it was
Yeah.
like, let's
Yeah.
say, just for the sake of example, a
A
year
year,
from now,
not a big
Herta
deal.
got power crept directly by Bob,
No,
it's
that's not
less
a
of an
problem.
issue.
A
That's not a
perfect
problem.
example,
Yes.
fine.
Hu Tao had a 3-year run in Genshin Impact, and then Arlecchino came out. Arlecchino had a year-long run.
Yes.
Mavica came out. Mavica is an Archon, so she power creeps Arlecchino. Although Arlecchino's still in a good spot, it's not a big deal. But when Bob is dropping 3 months later, or we get Acheron, 2 patches later we get Fei Xiao, and then you get, I'm sorry, not Fei Xiao, you get Robin. 2 patches later you get Fei Xiao, and then you were getting Rappa. It's like they're moving on so fast that it just feels like you cannot keep up. So I'm not talking about greed, and I'm not talking about wanting every single character, but a lot of people are turned off from the game because it's like, bro, what the fuck is happening? It feels like I have to keep up with the news. And a lot of people are not doing
Exactly.
that.
It's a
And
percentage.
that's what it is.
Can
Shout out to Bob, by the way.
I interject?
Sorry, yeah, Kate.
Because I
Oh,
know
fuck Bob.
the
Hate
response.
that guy.
I'm not trying to speak on behalf of anyone, but the response could be, "But you could still clear with Herta, right? So you'd still be able to. So you might have missed out on one thing, but you can still clear." But the frame again, I agree. It's a framing issue, right? Everything is happening just far too quickly. Yes, you'd still be able to clear with Herta, and you have Bob who would be better. But why are we defending a dev practice of pushing characters so quickly? Why are we defending that? And
Okay,
instead
wait,
being
kids,
like,
I'm
oh,
sorry.
but you could still clear.
We are at this point. We're kind of addressing why power creep is happening so fast, right? At this point, why is the dev
Yes.
making so many
Pretty
brand
much.
new units? Okay, but the thing is, that
Yeah.
is not my initial argument, though. My initial argument is not regarding the problem that is how fast power creep is moving. It is more so whether or not
But that
this power creep
contributes
is
to power
affecting
creep. No,
account.
how quickly
Well,
power
it
creep
contribute-
happens
yeah,
is
exactly,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, sure. If
it's exactly
more,
related.
if stronger units comes out faster,
Yes.
you will feel worse. Right? You feel that you cannot keep up. But the thing is,
That is
you
power creep,
can
though.
still keep up, and that's exactly how FOMO works in a gacha game. They release all these units. Yeah, granted, they release them fast. It's bad. I'm not trying to defend that. It is
Yes.
bad that they release this, and they make you feel
Okay.
like you can't keep up. But it is a psychology which is inherently not true, because D Herta would quite likely still be able to clear the end content even if Bob clears better than D Herta.
I see
So
what
at
you
that
mean.
point, you have
Yeah,
to ask
I see what you mean.
yourself, why would you want to pull Bob in the first? So let's just say Bob clears in 0 cycles or 1 cycles. Why would you need Bob to clear 0 to 1 cycles for you when D Herta for the past 3 patches has been clearing this for quite a while? And remember that if you went with the mindset that, okay, I'm gonna skip Herta, I know Bob is coming, then your experience right now is you have nothing. You are going to be using a 4-star win down here. And so it also removes the amount of value that Herta brought to your account in the first place, because every single waking moment you don't prove anything is basically you're using pretty much the dog shit for us on your Honkai Star Rail. And I think a lot of times people diminish the effect that you need to put for at that point of time was, in your opinion, the best decision. Because you don't know what's coming on in the future, but you know at that point it is good for your account. You enjoyed the value you got from Prota. Just like how when people booked for DOT last time, they enjoyed DOT because DOT was really strong. Sure, 1 year, 2 later, is like it takes a lot more for them to work. But at that point of time, it was still really, really good. If you, let's just say you didn't put for DOT, that means you just keep waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for this new unit to come out. Then that whole waiting period of time, are you still having fun? Because I feel like this ultimately boils back down to why do you even put a credit in the first place? So yeah.
Can I get a clarification on something then? Like, so you're saying like, you know, Dot was really good at the time, really enjoyed Dot. I mean, I'm a personal Dot enjoyer, Kafka forever, but like you're saying like, they can like still be viable. What kind of like vertical investment do you think is required though to still like keep Dot relevant?
Bobbin.
And also be able to prepare yourself for what's coming in the future for new meta gimmicks, right?
Bobbin.
That's important too.
Yeah, basically Bobbin or Rummy. And then you want to vertically invest them even more, you get a Bobbin E1, all that kind of stuff. Yep.
Okay. I think I want to bring it full circle. So basically, what we're doing and what we're saying is, you can adapt to power creep. Now, power creep is a problem.
Yep.
You can adapt to it through taking and understanding fully how the gacha system works in Honkai Star Rail. You are not forced to always be too sufficient at clearing endgame content, but you are still technically getting the rewards. And the moment you are unable to get the rewards, it's time to look at those free pulls you've been getting and saving, and look at the brand new units you have currently, update your accounts, and keep going like that. Did I get that right?
Yep. Which is
See,
basically
like
not
the
being greedy or
issue.
stupid.
Okay, see, the issue with that is because of recency, we want to feel the player's feeling on what they own and what they spent money on is pretty important. I want to feel
Okay.
like I made the right decision. The problem is every two patch, whether you did the right decision at the time, yes or not, that is completely irrelevant, and it will change because of the very formula that HSR specifically is going with. I hope I made some sense.
Sorry, so you're discussing like new units are like more fun, so it makes you feel worse if you don't
No,
have
no,
them.
I'm saying is you can get a unit. So
Okay.
it's a transaction. Okay. The moment
Okay.
we're saying you can spend money on something, it's a transaction. So I just get this new card, this brand new shiny thing. I'm
Yep.
happy with it, right?
Mm.
I want to feel that this is a good thing for a longer period of time. The speed in which it's going, player satisfaction in me obtaining and buying the X product is not lasting long enough where it feels like there's always this constant chase. And basically just me being online and looking at what's happening within the meta of Honkai Star Rail, I feel what I have is not as valuable as I had it 2 months ago, which is way too fast.
I think hold on. I
saying-
think
saying
we're
that
we're,
it-
we're
that-
hold on. We're changing the scope here of like power creep. Like my understanding of power creep here is we're talking about the ability to clear the end game content as the meta and the difficulty continues to increase, and the achievability of that of a player. Like quite frankly, if somebody has a little bit of FOMO, like personally, I don't care because like that's literally how every gacha game is
That's not
designed when
FOMO,
they release
though.
the new banner unit.
That's not
No, it
FOMO.
100% is
don't
FOMO.
understand it.
If a new
It-
banner unit comes
it
out
is
and you
FOMO.
think they're really cool, but you can't get them, and
It
now
is
you feel
FOMO.
desperate about it, that is
Yep.
100%
FOMO.
fear of
No, no,
missing
no.
out. That's
I'm not saying
exactly
it's
what that
desperate.
is.
I'm not. No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is even though I don't want this new unit, I cannot help but look at what I already own. I'm not thinking about getting it. I'm thinking about what I have, and what I have is now not the same. It doesn't feel as solid as what it used to 2 months ago.
Yeah, I think
That's what I'm
V's
saying.
talking to product value, like someone said.
Yeah.
I don't think V's addressing
Yes.
FOMO.
Yeah.
But
It's
that's
not-
not
Yeah,
I'm
power
not
creep.
addressing
Power
FOMO.
creep is the ability to play the game and clear the game with what you currently have. Player satisfaction is not power creep. Like that's what I'm saying. We're changing the scope and the definition of what we're talking about here. Like power creep is your ability to clear the end game content or the in-game content with what you have as the game continues to develop. And if that's not achievable with your previous units at a rate that's like you can't keep up with, then that's like an issue with power creep. But if somebody like you pull on a character and the next patch they drip market on even another character you like even more than the one that you just pulled, like I'm sorry, that's gacha games. I've played like a ton of gacha games, like something close to like 20 something gacha games at this point. Like that's the genre at
true.
this point, that you're chasing new
Yeah, exactly.
characters that and they always want to make you excited. So like frankly, FOMO
Yeah.
is completely irrelevant to power creep.
Wait.
And, like that's power creep is a way more functional issue.
I actually think though, but can't obviously there's all different types of FOMO, but can't power creep initiate FOMO as well though?
Of course.
Like,
Well,
like,
yeah,
point
because
of
if
it.
Sure,
the
it
character is
can.
literally clear stuff quicker. Of
I
course
don't
that's
think
FOMO.
I
Like,
and
like,
I
But if
think
another character looks cooler and
No.
your satisfaction with what you have makes you like less excited because the other one looks cool, that's FOMO. That's not power.
I don't think that's what V was saying though. I
This
think what
is-
V was saying, and then
No,
I think
I
we
think
should
this
move
is-
on. But
it's like saying all psychopaths are sociopaths, but not all sociopaths are psychopaths. I think it's that kind of weird argument, and I think we should just kind of leave it. I think
yeah,
it's like
yeah, I don't think that's So, Pokey, tell me why I'm right.
Well, what?
No.
Oh, okay. Power creep. Yeah. It's
Power
just
creep bad.
FOMO. FOMO is
I-
fine. You know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's FOMO. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
we could talk about like how Honkai Star Rail is kind of a game that it's same for any kind of gacha really, but I think it specifically feels more intense with Honkai Star Rail. It's a game that the devs create problems and sell you the solutions in character kits. And I feel that feels
Yeah.
more intensely because the game is so synergistic. And I think that's why people are
feels
starting to feel more
Genshin-y.
strongly about it. But I don't think it feels like Genshin-y because you could still like it still doesn't feel as bad because it's so team synergistic. They literally create. It's the whole point of a turn-based game. They kind of have to do it. They don't really have a choice. They have to create the problems
Fair
and
enough.
make the characters for the
You know what? Fair enough.
solutions, right?
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, fair enough.
And I think that's another reason why people might be on their toes a bit more about like, oh, I should be pulling for certain characters and certain synergies because that is the nature of a turn-based game to begin
Absolutely. Yep.
with. Yeah.
Sorry, what were we
Absolutely.
arguing
So
for
I
here?
don't think
I agree.
no. I think that's just no. That's a
Like, it's
neutral
bad
point.
or-
I feel that's no. I think that's just like that's what we agree
how
on.
fast it is.
I think
Can we
yeah.
can we
And
talk about
because
the reward? Oh
characters-
yeah. I don't know.
No,
Go.
no, no. We can talk about rewards, but I do want to mention about one particular thing, just to change the topic a little bit, if that's okay with everybody. Because I do
I'll
want
be
to
right
talk
back. I'll be
about.
right back.
Okay, I do want to talk about. We've been talking a lot about like 5 stars and how 5
Okay.
stars, the rate of them, but we have not mentioned at all the lack
Okay.
of like viable alternative 4 stars in Honkai Star Rail. Do you think that is a problem?
Can you give an example?
Um, to compare for like in Genshin, for example,
No,
people
no. Let's
still
just talk about
use-
Stario. Let's talk about Stario. Like, do you have an
No, but
example where
I think it's
Stario
good.
does
No, but it's good to have like a comparison. Like,
But I
you
think it's a
could say,
completely different game, though.
Well, we haven't
completely different game,
established
but the
anything on
pre-
Star
the-
Rail.
but
You
no,
should
but the-
establish it on Star Rail first, though.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Let me give a comparison. For example, like Palo is a 4-star character that gets used very frequently in Honkai
Absolute-
Star Rail
Mhm.
as just like a really good support unit because of her defense, right? Like
Yep.
she's
Yeah.
really good.
Yep.
I think we need more characters like Pela, because how long has it been since we've had like someone equivalent to that? That's like does something as good as like what she does. We need more of those characters, I feel like, in Honkai Star Rail. More 4-stars that are like viable in team compositions like a Super Break, like your follow-ups. Like we have them, but we don't have ones as good or feel as premium as like other gadgets might,
Okay.
like a Genshin where you have a Bennett that's sometimes still best in slot. Like a
Oh,
4-star actually being like a best in slot for a team, I still think is like a really good thing.
Okay, wait. Sorry, my
don't-
point for this is.
Hold on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
No, you go.
Okay,
first,
now,
Tyler.
okay. Let me. Okay, speed run. Okay, I feel like that is a little bit false because from the start we only had Timmy and Pella, but then as the game went on, we have some really, really good 4-stars. Some of them like being completely free. Like for example, your Harmony Trailblazer, right? Your Han March 7th, your Gallagher, Hanya. Maybe she's not the best, but she's still viable. I
agree,
feel like all
Gallagher's
these
great.
4-stars are still really, really good. And if anything, I feel like the way they paced out these 4-stars, I think it's at a pretty comfortable pace. But yeah, Connor.
Yeah, no, I'm
Okay,
I'm
yeah, it's
kind of
going well,
gonna
that's fine.
disagree there. I don't in a gacha game that like their goal is to sell like the premium units. I don't
Sure.
think like it's necessarily a requirement that a 4-star unit should be like the best in slot. For me, it's like
No.
are the 4-star
No, I don't
characters
think it
still
should
like
be a
viable for
requirement, no.
clears? Right, but like I agree that there hasn't been like a ton of like super viable 4-stars released recently, but like if you look at the roster of characters, like there is a bunch. Like you've already brought up Pella. I'm an E6 Gallagher enjoyer, and I use him on my Super Break team, who works perfectly fine. I even used Lynx for a little while. Like who else is on here? Zhui Yi, actually, she's obviously not
I'm
top
not
tier, but
denying that
Zhui
there
Yi's
aren't good
ability to do
4-stars,
like
by the way.
breaks.
I'm not
Well,
denying
but
that they
hold on,
don't
but hold on.
exist.
Your argument here is that there's not enough 4-stars, and I like the point I'm trying to make here is like there's actually like quite a few like very viable and very strong 4-stars that are currently in the roster if you break them down. Like even like Gwynaifen for like a Nihility comp, like for doing like a Fire Nihility, like even she's still viable in like the right team. So like actually if you were to like break down the full roster, there's only maybe like a handful of units that it's like units are really tough to use or like you can't really use. Like I know one that comes up pretty common is Yukong is like she's a little bit clunky to use in her kit and requires a little more manual play or fine tuning to use her optimally. So like sure, maybe she's not like top tier, but like the other majority of the characters that I've mentioned, like you build them and it's like set it and forget it. So I actually think like the 4-star roster is like pretty decent. And again, with long term getting like E6s, like they're pretty strong characters.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
I
fine.
think we're kind of going
That's
off. Yeah, I get that because I think Gallagher's good, but I think one thing that is good to talk about is the polls and the lack of polls, and power creep. I think is 100% tied into the gacha aspect, especially with the 8 character banners. I think that is another massive point about
That's
this.
my biggest gripe right now.
That I feel
Okay,
like is a
so
problem.
Side note,
Eight
fuck Misha.
character banner.
Just wanted to put
8
that out
character
there.
banner. So 8 character banner is bad. Okay, let's go.
Well, no. So here's the thing.
I don't think that
no,
is
no, no,
bad.
it's
I don't
not
think
bad.
the 8-card banner is bad.
I think you and Gotcha Spec had a pretty good discussion about this. I think it's very simple. Obviously, more reruns can necessarily be a positive, but if it is the peanut butter and jelly as opposed to the peanut butter and mayo, that is a problem. But the lack of extra rewards, I think, is also a problem. And I'm not talking about leaks. I'm just simply saying if the standard, I think you said is about 80 to 90 pulls, or let's just say fuck it, let's push it to 100 pulls per patch. If they are increasing the amount of characters that you get by doubling it, by getting 8 characters now you could potentially get in a patch, and they're only giving you 90 to 100 pulls, and that's not including a light cone, that's a little stinky, right? I'm not saying that they need to give you 200 or double it, but there has to be, I think, some sort of path to get more primo gems here due to, or whatever the fuck they're called, due to the fact that that's just crazy.
I feel like having more options of rerun doesn't mean you should be able to just pull all of the reruns. They are basically there as
But I'm not
options
saying
to
that though.
choose.
But I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think
Wait,
that.
but you just said that the players should have more primo gems because there are more rerun banners.
Yes, but
Did you
not
not just say that?
substantially. Like, yes, but not like doubling it. What I'm saying is like, how are we going from 2 characters on each half to with 80 to 90, and now we're getting 8, and we're still keeping it 80 to 90. I don't think it's a bad thing to say, hey, especially if the game is moving so fast with power creep. I don't think it's a bad thing to request. Can we get some more?
And it's
pulls?
3.0 release.
Like, I
Okay, but I
don't
feel like
think
this
it's
is-
bad.
this is really
at
not-
the same amount of pulls.
This is not really like I feel like you guys are probably not at the right demographic because a lot of these, basically 6 reruns, right? You probably wouldn't even consider getting any of these reruns because you probably would either have them, right? Because you played this game for super long, or like you just wanted like specifically Robin to just make her stronger. So a lot of these other choices, it doesn't change that the main 2 banners, the 2 new units, are the ones that are in the spotlight here. Because if you have been playing this game since day one, you probably would have known what they do in what team comp, and you would also know if these units add value to your account. Unless you are just like, for example, I think Asmongold saw this. Asmongold saw HSR had 8 banners. He brought up this point, which is choice paralysis by like the consumer, right? Because it's too many choices, people don't know. But that is from like a completely like he has no idea what Honkai Star is doing. So that could be pretty bad for someone that doesn't play Honkai Star, which is like completely just new. But if you have been playing this game, I really don't think it's that bad. Yeah.
Right.
No,
But,
my
okay,
take from the
so
start on the 8
they're-
banners
they're-
is like
they're having-
I just think it gives people an opportunity to like pull on characters if they want to, but it's 100% like I think it's delusional to expect to walk in and to pull on every single banner that's there at that time. It just gives you more variety and opportunity to pull. So I personally don't even care that there's like the multiple banners there. Like that's never been my stance on it.
I think I want to talk about like the intent of like all those banners. Why are the devs doing this? They're doing this because they want people to like fill out rosters of their teams. That's what I feel why they're doing this. They want you to feel comfortable. Go into 3.0, have the choice to pick the characters to make your teams better. So going forward, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel fine. They've put some of the best characters on these banners, right? For a reason. The intent is there to make you feel good. Then why, if they've done this to make you choose the characters that will better your account, do they not give you enough pulls to at least guarantee one of them? That is what people don't like. That's really it. And I don't know why that's something we have to like defend, why it's okay that they don't do that. They do it for a reason. Why not? Why not just be like, hey, if you do these events, whatever, the 3.0, you'll be able to grab the banner that you want at the end of it. I feel that's a fair point.
I feel like
I think
the
it's fair to
flip side
say
is-
I think you should be able to guarantee 1 character per patch. I'm always been, ask for more. I'm cool with
Okay.
that.
Okay. Like, okay. I first of all, I'm always down for like more rewards are always good. So I'm not saying no to all that. But I do feel that the flip side, which is if you don't run 6 reruns, let's just say you run like 2 reruns or whatever, then the flip side is people that actually want to fill up these gaps will take even longer to fill up these gaps.
Do you
So
think
that is gonna.
But
Yeah. Sorry.
Do you think the meta is moving to the point where the gaps? I don't think it's going to take that long to fill out these gaps, though, right? Like I feel like they're substantially putting out characters, especially DPSs. I mean, maybe I guess in the support department that might be lacking a little bit, but don't you think like they're moving so fast to the point where it's like the argument of filling out the gaps maybe not even necessarily be true? Because what if you're waiting for like, let's say, I don't know, Ron May, and then they drop someone completely better than Ron May, like the next patch or the following patch, and then they run like. I feel like the meta is moving so fast to the point where it's like I don't know if that's necessarily like the most
Right, but wouldn't you say that would be an even better thing because they are rerunning so fast? Since meta moving super fast is definitely not as good of consumer. You feel worse, but like if they make this run fast, then you can actually still try to like get the pieces. If the flip side is they're still running this banner super fast, but you get like a 1-2 rerun like per patch, then by the time it reruns, who the fuck is gonna even consider them? You get what I'm saying? Like, what about the players that actually want to play Scylla, want to play Silver, whatever? If they can get them now, they would technically even have a better enjoyment because they can play right now instead of like they have to wait 1 year later. Who knows what the fuck is gonna happen to Silver 1 year later? But I don't even want to imagine it. But yeah.
I get what you're saying. I just think my point, and I'm not talking about FOMO specifically. I'm just strictly talking about power creep. It's like the meta just moves so fast. Again, I know we're circling back a moment what I'm about to say, but obviously we're talking about a difference like 80 Jade, so it's not the end of the world, right? This isn't nuclear drama, but like I just think that it feels shitty and more predatory than normal. And I think that if this is the way something like HSR, I said this previously about Genshin, I think sets a standard for the industry. And if HSR consistently gets away with being super predatory, and let's say, for example, not this upcoming banner, but what if 3.1 out of 8 of them, maybe 4 or 3 of these characters are super synergistic and they're dropping all these things and making it more predatory, and the meta keeps moving that fast to the point other gacha games might adopt this style and it just bleeds into other genres. I mean, excuse me, other games.
Hold on. Hold on. I just want to like clarify here. Hold on, stop. I just want to like point of clarification here. Are you saying having multiple rerun banners happening at the same time per patch in a game that has a big roster is predatory, or the amount of rewards given per patch for loyal players is predatory because it's not enough for a single character? Because like those are two different things for me that like I don't like personally. I don't give a crap.
How long does it stay?
What? It's normal patch release cycles. There's like the new limited character, and then they're doing three rerun banners. So it's and then it's each half is the new premium character, 3 reruns at the same time.
No, I'm not.
That's not an L. Why? Why is having options for pulling an L? I just don't understand that.
No.
I'm saying an L if it's not longer. I mean, it should be longer. We should have plenty.
That's
of
normal
time.
patch.
That shit should stay like.
I don't.
It's the normal patch.
I don't think it's
or something like
what?
2 patches.
Yeah, Kate, you were saying.
Yeah.
No.
No, I think VSV is a little bit lost in sauce, right? Okay, yeah, continue.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Oh, I just got back. Like maybe I missed a detail or two.
No.
Like I think you're talking about the
No.
big banners, right? The multiple banner thing.
No,
you
that's
all right.
No, that's not the point I was making.
I don't know.
Oh, my bad.
I feel like
Kate,
it just,
I guess I was off point. My bad.
Go.
I feel like just kind of missing like the, not to hark on the point that I made earlier, but I think like it was kind of like ignored a little bit. But like the intent of the banner is to get people to pull for the characters that make their accounts better go for 3.0, and they don't give you enough resources to even do that. Like that's the intent of them, and the devs don't even allow the opportunity for really at that moment for it to happen. And no one really kind of gave a take on like if they think that's kind of like a good thing or a bad thing. Is that something we want to defend? Like is that something we want to defend or not?
The median is good though. I'm not saying that more pool is bad. More pool is always good. But it's not to the point of a situation where everybody can't get enough for their 5-star. Because it is the median number of pools needed to get a 5-star, which is around roughly 100, assuming half of them lose 50-50, half of them win 50-50, right? And if you want to talk about like the extreme, it takes 180. That can be just another guy getting 10 pools. So on median, it is enough pools for a guy to secure.
On an average, sure.
Yeah, on average.
Sure.
And that should always... Right, but the thing is, the moment you want to argue for like the unluckiest guy in the road, then you also must account for the luckiest guy in the road, right? So arguing for average should be the baseline for this kind of stuff. But okay, I kind of want to just circle back a little bit because I feel like at this point we're kind of moving to whether or not power creep is good or bad. It's bad, period. I don't think we need to discuss this because my original tweet, the whole reason why we need this call is whether is it a problem for the player. And my baseline, it's caused by greed or stupidity. And I'm not discussing whether or not power creep and like this meta moving is good or bad because it is bad. All right. But the thing is, it being a problem for your account is something that is managed by the players, right? We can blame the casino for all we want, right? The house is always bad. But I feel like this point is not talking about the casino, it's talking about the gamblers. They want to gamble, they want to, they're gonna win, all that. So yep.
I just don't think it's 100% on the player.
If you just added that to the tweets, we wouldn't have this conversation.
Yeah, I like the tweet. I think
My
whole point is
that one detail, man, and we wouldn't be here.
No, my whole point is that like it's not 100% on the player though. That's the point. It's just moving fast and it's turning people off.
Yep. So that's the point I want to argue. I'm putting this. If it is a problem for you, it is 100% on the player. Because the fact is, there are field plays, there are casuals that can still clear all endgame content with whatever old units they have right now. Because if this was not the case, then we wouldn't see a single Stella clearing MOC 12 or DOT. But the thing is, it only affects a subset of the population.
No.
Yeah?
I think this is where all the disagreement's coming in though. Because you are assuming that problematic power creep is only caused, like, it's only a problem when it's caused by the player. Again, it goes back to the whole premise at the beginning of the whole thing. When power creep is a combination of everything. It's a combination of everything. It's a combination of what the devs do, making a problem and selling you solutions. It's also player skill. It's all of those things put together. But you're only saying, oh no, it's literally just a player skill issue thing. When that's not the case. It's a mixture of all of them. And I don't know why you're trying to say that the entire time it's just skill issue, then power creep's a problem. No, it's a thing the devs do too, that implement to make you want to get better at the game, better skill issues. That's the whole thing. And that's what people have the problem with the most.
And the reason why this is such a hot
he
take.
said it's bad, right?
No, the reason why this is such a hot take and I'm getting so much resistance is because a lot of the points just now that you guys brought up, which is Bob, right? This feeling is FOMO. And feeling FOMO is not a problem to your account. That's not a problem. The problem is
I disagree.
So you think feeling FOMO
is not
a problem?
FOMO. No, it's not. But you're saying it's FOMO. Devs making HP inflation isn't FOMO. That's a real thing that they've done. That's a real problem they have made. That's not FOMO. That's a real thing.
Do you think MOC is easier now or harder now?
I can't compare it.
I can tell you right now.
I haven't done MOC all this.
It's quite literally easier now to 3-star because even though there's HP inflation, go for it.
But you recognize that is a thing. Like, HP inflation is a thing, regardless if like MOC is easier or not now than the last one. It's still a thing they're implementing, right?
Yes, but need to take
which can be a constituent of power creep now and in the future if they continue to do so.
Okay, the thing is, this will be a problem if players are actively struggling. If Memory of Chaos is getting more and more difficult to get 3 stars, this is a problem because as an entire player base, everybody is struggling. But the direct opposite is happening right now, where Memory of Chaos is even easier to 3-star from these recent days because even though there is HP inflation, the Memory of Chaos buffs, they are getting strong as well. On top of the fact that all these players, they have these time to build up their resources and everything. So this point, I feel like it just really does not stand because
But who makes that decision? Is it the players or is it the devs that do that?
Okay, the devs make the devs make HP inflation, right? I'm not arguing whether HP inflation exists or doesn't exist. I'm arguing if it's a problem for your account. And the thing is, it's not a problem for your account because if you have invested in right units, if you're not greedy or stupid, then this wouldn't be a problem for you. Because if this was a problem, then Scylla mains, Jingliu mains, DOT, none of them will clear the current Memory of Chaos because they're all super old as fuck. They didn't pull for any of the new units, and then they'll be cooked. But that is not the case.
But I think if we're referring to wait, give me 1 second. Hold on. If we're referring to a couple characters, excuse me, a couple people who are just clearing with Sealy, that is not the general population of the endgame players, right? We don't know their builds. I know you had like that whole thing where people posted their things like, oh, I see a DOT clear here, I see a Sealy clear here. Let's say maybe there's 10 of them and out of like 50 tweets. But that doesn't represent. There's no way for us to sit here and say, hey, for example, like, okay, you can clear it with Sealy. That is a high skill issue thing. Like, for example, right now in Wuwa, right? That new middle tower is fucking dog shit. But since I'm goated with the sauce, I can clear it with a Camilla or with Zheng Liao, even though they have higher resistances. So I get what you're saying, and I don't necessarily think you're 100% wrong, because again, I'm feeling you. You can clear it with the old people, but it might take a couple more cycles, and you're thinking people are greedy because they want a 0 cycle. Fine, but the whole premise, though, at least of my point, and I think Cap's point, as well as Connor and V, is that the power creep is still there because these characters cannot clear as fast or as efficient, or some can't even clear at all to the point where they have to pull out their wallet. Even endgame people are going to struggle with Sealy. Just because a couple people in your chat that are probably majority tryhards that are very skilled at the game doesn't represent all of the endgame players, right? So I get you, but I don't know. I don't 100% agree with that.
No, okay. My point right now is, so you're basically expecting players who are not casual and try hard, right? They are not putting effort for their Scylla or whatever, but they still expect the full rewards for the endgame.
No.
Okay.
That's not what I'm saying. My apologies if I misspoke. I'm saying people who play endgame, just because a couple people in your Twitter show that they cleared with DOT or Scylla, does not mean that they are still 100% viable, because of the fact that they might just be highly skilled, but that is not the general people who are in endgame. Fuck the casuals. Fuck them. We don't care about them. We're talking about the 10% of the people who play. If you're seeing
the casuals.
Okay.
I don't. Fuck them. No, I'm kidding. That's what I'm saying. Yes, someone in the chat saying you're clearing it. Yes, some people are. But if I logged into an account right now with a Sealy, I probably can't clear it with a built Sealy, right? Can we at least agree that it takes a level of skill to use Sealy, or even let's say your auto probably is not clearing it unless you have
Okay.
a decked out account with that Sealy.
I
Compared
think
to
my
just
problem
using,
is
yeah.
what is wrong with Silly clearing endgame content, even if it takes more skill? Because we are quite literally talking about a 1.0 unit. If this very same 1.0 player just didn't pull for all these new DPSs, he would have like gotten 1,000 pulls by now. So if bro is struggling, in the grand scheme of things, if you want to talk about the income, he will literally be richer than all these facial pullers and firefly pullers because they keep pulling for the new thing. If you strictly want to talk about the gains you're getting, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to play endgame, these sweaty players, if you want to fuck the casuals, the sweaty players, they will care about the income they're getting from the endgame. The bro that put Scylla and put no one else, and they just stick to Scylla, he would have saved like 1 billion pulls. So wouldn't that make him the winner?
I think we're talking about two different things. Your argument a few moments ago, let me know if I'm misrepresenting it, was saying that Sealy could still clear, so the power creep
Yes.
really doesn't matter. But now you're bringing up pulls. That's not what I'm saying. Yes, Sealy can clear, but if we're if we're looking at all of these people who are playing endgame, a lot of people using Sealy in the endgame are not clearing. Just because some people are using DOT and Sealy to get clears, or let's say they're using DOT with Acheron, which isn't really DOT, but that's a different conversation, does not mean that these other characters are objectively better than Sealy, right? So I'm not talking about the pull portion. I'm simply talking about the fact that
Okay, where did
it
it
is
clear, right? Okay.
it's not relatable even for an endgame person to say, hey, listen, I cleared 100% with Sealy. Like, yes, of course, God bless, I love that for you, that you're go-to with the sauce. But a lot of endgame players need to pull that because they have skill issue. I definitely acknowledge their skill issue with the endgame, but yeah, does that make sense?
Okay. No, it makes sense because like there are a lot of players in Honkai style. Okay, if you can clear with Scylla, you're in the minority, right? So
Yes.
because you're in the minority, it doesn't make
Yes.
Scylla immune to power creep. Okay, but that's the thing though. Majority of the people, they are not playing this game with no greed or stupidity. And I think this is why I think like it's such a big deal because majority of the people, they are greedy, they are stupid, they are entitled, they are afraid by FOMO, and only a minority of people actually knows what the hell they're doing their accounts. There are a minority of people that can make use of this version 1 DPS and make it, but just because they are in the minority, it doesn't make them wrong. It's not wrong that they prove that these version 1 DPSs can still make it. If anything, most
I would
people.
like something
sorry?
about stupid. About stupid. Sorry, my bad. If I forgot you, I was just the one
No,
thing
yeah, go
that
for it.
annoys me in this whole statement is it's not stupid. It's not knowledgeable. They just don't care about the game that
Okay, I can
much. I don't
phrase it
think that
nicer.
makes them stupid.
It
Yeah, I don't
means
think
the
that's
exact same
stupid.
thing,
Like that.
but sure.
The
It means the exact
point
same
is-
thing,
No,
but
no, no,
sure.
no.
No,
It's,
don't
no,
phrase it
it's not
nicer.
stupid. No. Stupid is stupid. No, stupid is stupid. Like saying, oh, I think my shit should always be viable and should zero cycle every single patch, despite the units being in 2.0, now we're in 3.0. No, that's stupid. But someone that just isn't that knowledgeable and isn't as skillful to clear with a Zeely or something like that isn't stupid. They're just not as knowledgeable about the game or skillful about the game. I
Okay,
hope
sure,
that
sure.
makes some sense. 'Cause
Sure.
stupid is a whole other term, in my opinion.
I think it's exactly the same, but sure, we can be. Yep, sure. They're not as
I
knowledgeable.
don't see it the
Sure.
same. For me, they're not the same.
Okay.
V's just
For me,
very
they're not.
nice. V's just very
Okay.
nice.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
Okay.
not
I'll be
very
nicer.
nice. It's
I'll
just
be
there's a
nicer. Right? I'm
difference
sorry
into
for
two.
saying stupid.
No,
Yeah.
No,
no.
it's okay, V.
Yep.
You're allowed to be nice. It's okay, man. It's fine.
That's not the
You can
problem.
be rebranded as the nice guy.
No. We could say the word stupid. Guys, I think we're missing the point. I'm not saying Pokey's missing the point.
Yeah.
Everyone, guys, it's not about being nice. Who fucking cares? Let's not police Pokey's language on that. The point is that you're shifting the blame to the players. Who the fuck? Yes, people who are greedy are stupid. I don't give a fuck. If you think you're going into a gacha game, not spending any money, and rolling every premium unit or all synergistic units, unless you're fucking lucky as hell, you are stupid. Straight up.
Yep.
I don't think anyone is disagreeing here. V might say that they're silly and that's fine. They're a goofy goober and that's fine. I will call you a fucking idiot. Don't care. Like,
Okay,
right?
then
Like,
that's
exactly.
Wait,
Yeah.
if
So
they're what? If they're what? Wait. If they're what? What'd you say?
if someone is going into the gacha game expecting to get every single unit free to play, they are stupid. They're
Yeah,
dumb.
that's stupid. Yes, that's stupid. Agreed. Yeah. But I'm
We've
Yeah.
talking
already
about the
established
skillful,
that.
the
That's fine.
skill part.
Yes,
Because
yes,
he was
yes.
talking about the skill part. That's not stupid.
They are less knowledgeable. Okay. Let's continue.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Just
we're getting lost in the sauce
okay,
here. I have a question
think-
about power creep. I want
Yeah.
to ask Pokey though.
Yep.
So like Pokey, if you were to rewind in your mind for a minute when Acheron released, if you could rate it out of 10, what do you think the difficulty to clear Memory of Chaos with Acheron was when that happened? When they came out?
The difficulty to clear Mario Chaos with Acheron, like back then, or just Mario
Yeah,
Chaos itself?
to get a full clear with Acheron.
Using Acheron. Like specifically
Yes.
Acheron? Right, it's
So
a
on
lot easier.
Acheron's release, her patch on Memory of
It's
Chaos,
very,
if you
very
could rate
easy.
it out of 10. Okay.
I give it 10.
What do you think? Same with like, okay, then let's jump to today. What do you think the difficulty to clear with Acheron today is?
I drop it down, right? 8.
Like 8 in terms of difficult, like 8 out of 10 difficulty, or
No,
like
no, no,
8
as in
being
like,
easy?
oh, wait, as in like, it was super easy to clear with Acheron, like 10 out of 10 easy. And then now it's like, it's
Okay.
not as easy as the last time. Yeah.
Okay, I would scale it like lower in that case. And so like the point I'm trying to get to is like the character who was like absolutely clearing at the beginning of 2.0, even towards the end of 2.0, the amount of skill and difficulty required to still clear that unit still feels like a massive spike in overall difficulty in like at a rate that I think feels unreasonable, and I don't even think that's from like a stupidity level.
Right. Okay, but that's the thing though. Acheron, if you were an Acheron player, right? At the start, I think a good illustration is like the light cone thing. At the start of the game, there has been this thing like, oh, Acheron is like super strong with the light cone, and like she's bad without it, right? This is an example of whether do you want something or whether do you need something. You did not need Acheron's light cone, but you wanted Acheron's light cone because it made her stronger. Regardless if she had the light cone or no light cone, she was still easily clear Memory of Chaos back then because she's super, super strong. Fast forward to today, if this exact same Acheron player, he wanted to keep playing Acheron, right? He doesn't want to pull for any of the units. If he wanted to keep playing Acheron, then he would have very likely made this Acheron stronger, either by pulling for Jiao Qiu, which is like one of the best supports for Acheron, or pull for a signature light cone. So by that regard, you could say that the guy just doesn't want to pull. All right, sure, you don't want to pull for anything, right? You pull for Acheron back then, and she just last dropped this entire thing. Then this entire time frame where you didn't upgrade your Acheron team, you would have saved up all those pulls for something else. All right, this pool would eventually have to go somewhere. So it's up to you as a player. Do you want to upgrade this Acheron team, or do you want to just pull for all these other stuff? And frankly speaking, they're all valid. It really depends on what you're trying to do with the resources you have. Yeah.
Chad, I think it's derailed.
Yeah, but if I pull the new ones and then 2 patches later we have a new thing that says, "Oops, the other 2 are now irrelevant." Well, that's where the problem lies.
Why would they be irrelevant?
Again, we just keep circling back to it.
No, but okay, you keep bringing up this point where if a new unit comes out, right? Like if Bob comes out, there's this argument where even if Bob is the strongest unit, it's not a problem because your units would have been at the exact same level. Right? Whether or not Bob comes, or Bob, Sam, Tom, Dick, Harry, whatever, your unit is exactly the same. Right? It has nothing to do with how strong the next unit is, because this is what you got with your strategies. So if you invested in this unit, that unit will still be yours, and she's going to clear the endgame content. Is it going to be as good as the Bob? Right? Is it going to be as good as Bob? If Bob was OP, probably not, right? Bob's going to 0 cycle, 1 cycle, whatever. Maybe Herta is like doing a cheer for. But the thing is, you don't need them, right? You want Bob. Yes, you want Bob because you want them. He's so broken and you feel bad, but you don't need them, which always just goes back to, greed and like FOMO and all that. But yeah.
Okay, so back to like Acheron in this like situation
you
though.
made your bed, sleep in it.
Hold on. So, but like, so Acheron, when she released pre-Jiao Qiu, she could easy clear.
Yep.
If somebody decided not to pull on Jiao Qiu and use the same Acheron team and try and clear Memory of Chaos now, like, do you think they're going to have still an 8 out of 10 time trying to clear that, or do you think they're going to have a much more significant time doing that without Jiao Qiu?
It's gonna be more difficult if you didn't pull Jiao Qiu. Yes.
What do you think in terms of like difficulty? Like, because now it's getting back to me where I think like there's an issue with power creep of like you need to have the exact right teams for the characters to stay relevant, where like previously it worked, and now they've ramped up Memory of Chaos in such an insane degree that you have to have this other specific unit, or else you are going to have an extremely hard time clearing Acheron.
Experience.
You don't need Jiao Qiu for Acheron. Even though Jiao Qiu makes Acheron a lot stronger, but you don't need Jiao Qiu. She can still clear the current Memory of Chaos 3 cycle, 2 cycle, whatever, without Jiao Qiu. It's just that Jiao Qiu would make Acheron stronger. If you want Jiao Qiu, if you want Acheron to be stronger, Jiao Qiu is great. But you don't need it. That's like the premise here. And it kind of goes back as well.
But you said the experience of using Acheron is already worse.
The experience of using Acheron is really worse.
You
compared to
that.
Without Jiao Qiu, yeah, absolutely. Because Jiao Qiu is going to be an upgrade.
already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Just okay. So we're clear. All right.
Which
Because
encourages
okay,
us. Which
she
encourages
her
us to get
she
to
didn't
the
get
other pillar.
worse. She didn't get worse. She has always been here. It's
No,
just you
but the
didn't get
game got
upgrade.
harder, right? That's the point.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
game.
wait. HP
Sorry, yeah.
inflated.
Okay, I really think this HP inflation thing it's a bad
It doesn't
way
have to
to
be HP
initiate
inflation. It could be a
power
mix
creep.
of things.
Wait, no, just
Right,
let
because-
Pokke explain.
Guys, let him.
Pokke explain.
Guys,
Yeah,
shut
yeah.
up and let him talk.
Let-
oh my
let Poke-
gosh.
Let Pokke explain why Acheron is why they're struggling now as opposed to before. Please, Pokke, I want to hear. I need to fucking hear this. Please,
Okay,
just let the man talk.
Acheron had a very easy time on release.
Yeah.
No Jiaoqiu not in, right? She's very easy time. Acheron wouldn't be having the exact same easy time right now. Because if you choose to not get the upgrade options for Acheron, she's not gonna feel as easy as it was back then. MOC is more difficult, right? Or like HB or whatever, right? She's not gonna feel as easy. It doesn't mean that you need to pull for Jiaoqiu just to make Acheron a viable or like even like a clear endgame content. You don't need it. So that is my point.
Now, I just want to ask
My
a question.
point here is you have this. Hold on. My point here is if you have the same Acheron team from her release, you haven't more vertically invested into that Acheron team, and you've been looking at other units. I
Okay.
don't think you would 3-star clear with that same Acheron team because it's been increasing at such a rate that is like untenable for like most players. Because they're looking at the new characters and they're looking at building, like we talked about these other archetype teams. We're talking about Super Breaker, we're talking about follow-up comps. Like, so now, like, so the rate at which the power creep is increasing, like that same team has now become completely irrelevant without significantly more vertical investment. And I think that's where things feel bad in the power creep and more issues are coming from.
Acheron is one of the best clearing units in Memory of Chaos, like since her debut, like even till this day.
I'll
So
admit,
she's
yeah,
not-
she's amazing.
Yes, even without just even okay, just if you look at Private, right? Acheron is still clearing like almost every single MOC. Yeah, granted, she's not the fastest clearer. She's not zero cycling like super easily compared to the shiniest new TPS, but she's consistently clearing.
Wait, can I?
Yeah, I
have a
agree.
question.
That I agree that she can clear, but I'm saying that if you
Wait, I
took
thought you
the
said that she
same,
can't clear.
I'm she can. I don't think. I think if you took the same team comp you had in 2.1 without
Okay.
any changes to the team comp and you planted it on 2.7 with where we're at now, I don't think you would 3-star clear with that same team comp.
She would 3-star.
Even though it was a very invested team comp.
she would still
That's
3-star.
that's my argument.
So
Okay, my argument is she would. But-
wait, but I just want to
Sure.
ask you a question because this is the part where I think there's a lot of inconsistencies, including all of us, not just you. I think all of us having this as well. Earlier, you said MOC is more relatable. Excuse me, it's easier. It is easier to clear because of the completion rates. We just gave an Acheron example, and you're saying that it got harder. So if it's easier, then it can't get harder. But if it is harder, why is it harder to clear without that same character? I don't want anyone else to answer. I need Pokke to answer because we can't say that it's easier, but then it is harder using what was considered the best DPS in the game.
Right.
So,
Right,
so
okay.
that
So
is
the
what we
reason
need to
why
break
the-
down.
Right. Okay. The reason why that's because Acheron is not every single team in Memory of Chaos. Right.
Okay.
So if you're somebody that used the exact same Acheron team for the past 6 months, you probably would have done something in those pools unless you just want to choose. Fuck it, I'm not gonna just pool for the next 6 months, 8 years, whatever. The thing is, all the datas in Memory of Chaos, they are a lot more accessible now, which is why there are more 3-star clears coming last time. Even though Acheron without Jiaoqiu now would have a more difficult time clearing than Acheron without Jiaoqiu last time. Because the Memory of Chaos is getting harder. It doesn't mean that she can't clear it. And if you were to be an Acheron
Yeah.
that got the Jiaoqiu, that got the upgrade, then
Mhm.
it would be even like much easier.
But how
So
is
that's
it
why.
getting harder? But okay, no, let me rephrase that. Why do you think it's getting harder? Do you think it's because
Acheron specific? Okay, so this is like in a vacuum. We are only talking about Acheron, right? Not nobody
Whoa,
else. Just Acheron.
wait. I want to rephrase my question before you go into the Acheron thing. I'm saying MOC as a whole is getting harder,
Mm.
right? As you've
Mm.
just said. So why is it getting harder?
MOC is getting easier because more people are doing 3-stars.
But-
even with HP inflation. But
But-
for Acheron,
Okay, yeah.
if you use the exact same Acheron team from day one to now, it will be more difficult. But it doesn't change the fact that more people are clearing 3-stars nowadays because we are factoring in not just that one guy using the same Acheron team, we're factoring the player base that are playing Honkai Star Rail.
Hold on. The more 3-stars you're talking about, though, I don't think is using the same Acheron team that was released at that time. So like the more clears are happening because people are pulling on these like newer units that are
They have
having
the
an easier time
charges.
clearing. You're getting more people who are pulling on the exact right teams, so it becomes easier to clear. But I'm saying people who don't have those exact teams aren't going to be in that same population unless they have the newer characters.
Okay, I mean, like, if you are somebody that just straight up do not pull anything, then yeah, I guess you can assume that argument. But the thing is, because the amount of pulls that is structured in Honkai style, it is meant for players to have a sufficient amount of pulls to kind of just play on what they want. So it's not like you're gonna have the same account from like version 1 or version 2 all the way for the rest of your life, right? Because if that's the case, you would have a more difficult time clearing if you just choose to save everything. Which honestly kind of goes back into why should you pull for this unit or not pull for this unit? If you choose to not spend any stellar jades for like the entire time, obviously you're gonna have a more difficult time clearing because your account is essentially the same from now all the way since last time, right?
You kind of glossed over something there though. Like you were saying, like yes, you're going to get more pulls, so you can pull on more characters. So again, the new characters and the end game are running away from the previous characters that are being pulled. Like that's the issue with power creep. So to keep up with the power creep, you have to be pulling on the exact new right units to keep up with the end game. Like, and I think that's the argument. Is like it's making the older characters, it's making the old characters irrelevant.
Okay,
like,
I really need to like this have to and one thing it really changes a lot because you really don't have to. Like you if you don't want to upgrade anything, fine, sure, be it. But the thing is, you don't have to do them if you want to clear endgame content as well. And if you are talking about this guy, then maybe just say like Acheron maybe just strong. If you want to talk about like Scylla, right, or like the version 1 DPS, if you don't want to upgrade, right, they are stagnant. They are gonna be weak because all of the inflation, all the kind of stuff. This guy just choose to not upgrade anything. Sure, he probably wouldn't even be able to 3-star endgame content, right? Because he's basically made no change to the account. But the grand thing is, he would then end up with so many pulls. He probably would have a lot more pulls than all these fuckers that like pulled for all these units. So in the long span of time, the guy that might suffer right now for not pulling will just come back in the future because the amount of pulls that everyone gets is like the same. It just really depends on how you're gonna use them. So yeah.
So but that doesn't negate the power creep argument there though.
Yeah, it doesn't. Pokke, I just if you excuse me, Connor, because I gotta go right now. I'm sorry. Just to round up something for me personally.
You good, bro?
I will. I will. Just give me a sec. So just to round it up, basically, devs have power creep. Like we can all agree, devs do power creep, right?
Yep.
Players can adapt to that power creep, but it does not directly fix the power creep problem that the devs do / excuse the power creep that the devs apply. Is that correct?
It wouldn't remove power creep, but it will mitigate whether or not power creep is a problem for them.
It can mitigate it.
It cannot remove power creep.
Does it excuse their predatory tactic through this power creep system?
Okay, V, the thing is, I'm not arguing whether it's predatory or not. That has never been my point since day one. Yes, they are predatory.
I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, they are predatory.
But I think it matters though. No, but I think it matters when but it matters when Pokke always says that it's a user skill issue when it becomes problematic. That's where I think it matters. Why, if you believe, if you want to defend the practices of what the devs do.
Okay, kids, let's assume that if I were to make this tweet and I say I condemn the devs, power creep is really, really bad, but everything else I say is the exact same point. Would you think this would change everything?
No, it really depends on how the tweet is literally worded. But I think
MTash here, and this changes everything.
Okay, I feel like this is where like it really depends on like whether or not the people want to hear what they want to hear. So I think this excellent example is I can condemn a gacha company for being predatory. But if I don't condemn a gacha company for being predatory, it doesn't remove the fact that these players, they are facing problems with these power creep. They are usually caused by them having either like, gambling problem, they are FOMO, they are greedy, they are stupid. It doesn't change that. Whether or not I condemn a predatory gacha practice, it won't remove the responsibility from the players. They are entitled to getting all these things. And this is the entire premise of my argument, which is the players.
But you've said it's only problematic when it's the user skill issue.
If power creep is a problem for you, right? It is a skill issue. If the power creep becomes a problem for your account, it is a skill issue. But it doesn't change what you've basically.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
I was just saying, like, but basically, right? what we're saying without saying is, power creep isn't an issue as long as you're always just chasing the meta and you're hyper reading into everything, and then eventually, yeah, you'll keep up, and then you'll never have to worry about power creep. But I'm saying I don't think that was the expectation set from like 1.0 to 2.0. I don't think players needed to play in that way to be able to get those clears. But the way the game has progressed, now you do. You have to chase meta to keep
Exactly.
up with it. That's the feeling of the power creep, and I think that is happening. Really, I feel like the big switch was probably around Firefly's release. When Super Break was included, I feel like that was the turning point where like, oh, all these other teams basically are
Alright, boys, it's been
irrelevant
fun.
now, and
Yeah.
they're not functional.
So
See you
yeah,
later,
okay,
everyone.
Take care, bud.
Enjoy, enjoy.
Yeah, take care.
And I think that's the problem is I don't think players want to be pigeonholed into a way of you need to chase the meta to keep up with the end game because it's always getting more and more difficult and the scaling is always increasing.
Okay,
And I
but
think
what-
that's more the
Yeah.
problem.
No, but I feel like once again, you don't need it though.
I get what you're saying, Pokke. I get it. You don't need it because you could still clear 3 or 4 cycles with Acheron as opposed to, let's just say, Firefly, make an example, or Bob, because Bob could 0 cycle, right?
All right.
I'm
doesn't mean that it's
arguing
not
10
happening.
cycle clears.
Okay, we can go for semantics, but like the point kind of stands. Okay. Yeah, Ethan, you were saying.
No, yeah, no. Is that your point? I just want to make sure because I definitely agree with you in a certain sense. I really do. Like, please, I also want to clarify this. I guess I'll speak on everyone.
Right.
I don't want anyone. We're not attacking you,
Right.
right? I just
No.
you don't feel
I
like you're
think.
attacking. All right, cool.
Oh,
cool.
yeah, this is a good discussion.
'Cause-
Right? Yeah.
I am Thorfinn. I have no
Yeah,
enemy.
no, I'm gonna attack Pokke on Twitter later. I'm not gonna attack him to his face though. But I think I get what you're
Right.
saying. I just think
Mm.
that a lot of people feel like the game is moving too fast and it turns players off. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to consider that FOMO, I think that's whatever. Like if your chat wants to consider that FOMO or my chat, I don't think that's FOMO though. I just think that the game has become very predatory to the point where it just feels not fun to play. And I just disagree with you saying it's a skill issue. I don't think that's a skill issue because again, it's very hard to predict when units are going to be great like that. The meta is
Right.
changing so fast that I feel like it's like having a second job. And I don't
Okay, the
want my
thing is-
gacha game to feel like that, even if I'm
You
endgame.
feel this way, but unfortunately, the facts don't care about the feelings. Because if you want to think about it, right, Super Break has been with us for like,
Bloodbench
the
Pyrrha.
entire fucking time, right? If you were to sustain, like, so you pull for Barbie and Rame, these 2 units has been like the core throughout the entire time. It's not like you're constantly chasing these brand new meta supports, meta DPS, meta, because it has been pretty constant throughout. Version 3 is, I would say, the first time they introduced a pretty big change in a term of Mimo sprites. For the past couple of badges, it has relatively been consistent and it has not been super fast. You feel it's super fast because they release a lot of banners. The thing is, you don't need to pull for all these banners because they are inciting FOMO. Like a lot of these, especially DPS units, they incite a lot of FOMO. But the thing is, you don't need them. It feels good, right? Sure, you put Rapper versus Firefly, whatever, it feels good. But like, you wouldn't need to pull for Rapper if you already had a Firefly. Just like how you wouldn't need to pull for Boothill if you already had a Firefly. And the same argument can apply for all these archetypes. So version 3, I would say, is the first time where the meta is actually changing quite a bit because they are slowly ramping up this memo sprite into the mechanics.
So I still don't agree. I think it is moving fast, but obviously we can agree to disagree. It is what it is. Because
Sure.
I'm posting a screenshot in chat. That doesn't look fast to you?
Sure. That is the HP, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, the thing is, I've fully acknowledged that the amount of HP they make to MOC is a lot more. Like the HP inflation is gonna be a big thing. But the thing is, if HP inflation was a sole indicator of whether or not meta is moving fast, then a lot of players will be struggling to clear it. When in reality, the 3-star clear rates have been getting higher despite the HP inflation. Because HP inflation in a vacuum, it doesn't consider all these other factors outside, like memory of chaos bars, which is like a huge component as to determine whether or not you can 3-star clear. Whether or not you can 0 cycle, I would 100% say it is much more difficult now to 0 cycle, but we don't need a 0 cycle anyways. That's why I say like 3-star clears, and in general, it is still fine. You don't need all these. Yep.
Can I bring an example? Like, for example, you're saying, like previous MOCs where enemies had less HP. People were still doing, say, similar amounts of damage kind of now, but they were kind of like overcapping on damage so much so that it doesn't matter now that the HP is inflated because they could still do a similar kind of like shit ton of damage. It doesn't really matter. Is that kind of what you're implying with that?
Yep, you never needed to 0 cycle or 1 cycle back. Like back then, it felt super strong. That the norm back then for this unit, it was like 0 cycles, 1 cycle. They're like face out one shot the Automatron and like Kafka. Like, oh my god, OP. But now, even if they cannot do the same amount of like clears, like the speed, it doesn't make them irrelevant. You wouldn't need to go and chase all these new units because,
Mhm.
sure, granted, 0 cycles are now even more difficult, but the clear rate is a lot better. Unless we are talking about 0 cycles, then yes, I agree. 0 cycles is more difficult for my life. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think.
Hold on, you keep bringing up 3-star clear rates keep increasing. When I'm looking at like percentage breakdown of like team compositions and characters being used, of the top 15 characters being used on those teams, one character is from 1.0. One
Okay.
character. So the 3-star
Yep.
clears are going up because people are chasing like the newer
Right.
characters and they're
The
chasing
meta.
the meta team
Mhm.
comps. Like it, so it
Right.
just goes back to chasing the meta argument. It's not
Yeah.
it's not just about like investing in your account with the characters that
Yep.
you have. It's
That which is exactly why majority of the people they want to chase all these kind of stuff. But the thing is, you don't need to chase all these kind of stuff. The Scylla clears, all these like version 1 DPS, they are in the minority because not a lot of people will still think, okay, I still want to use my version 1 DPS. But it doesn't change the fact that these version 1 DPS are still relevant. Like DOT can still clear, Scylla can still clear. Just because there's a lesser amount of them doesn't mean the fact that oh shit, they're irrelevant. Majority doesn't mean it's a right.
I think what I'm just trying to point out is like you're saying that the 3-star clears are happening more so because there's more like variety of characters to choose from, and I'm saying there's not because there's more of a variety of characters. It's because people are pulling the new characters. So like it's not about variety; it's about pulling the new characters, and it's about pulling the right new characters.
Right.
So which is chasing the meta, which I think is like I don't think you should be forced into a game where you have to chase the meta to keep up with it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
Do you think Memory of Chaos is the hardest content in Honkai Star, or do you think it's something like Apocalyptic Shadow? Like, what do you think is right now the hardest content?
Oh, is it MOC? Yeah.
MSC. Okay, just wanted to. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Sorry,
But the thing is, all 3 endgame, like, if
Guys,
you
go
wanna
pop
talk
up my
about
next
3
IRL.
starring, is not as undoable as you say it is. Like, although, yeah, okay, the point was a lot of these clears, they were brought up by all these, like, chasing the meta and new units. The flip side is, if you didn't chase the meta, you would technically be prepared for the next meta. You know what I'm saying? It's not like these people that skip, all of a sudden they just can't pull for the next meta, because you will have saved up all these pools. So
I'm
whether
sorry,
you
can
want to
repeat
spend
that?
them now,
I'm so sorry. I don't want to be a dick. I apologize. I
no,
zoned out for a
sorry.
second.
So
Can you
like,
repeat that?
if you
Yeah.
chase meta today, if
Okay.
you put for Fugue, Sunday, whatever, it makes you super strong. Or if you put for like the ODP, the Firefly, whatever, sure, you chase the meta. You are clearing very easily, very good. And then the people that didn't chase for meta, they will have a harder time compared to the people that did chase. On the flip side is, for the people that did not chase for meta, they would have the pools left for them to chase the next thing. So it will always come back to this like rotation. The moment you want to chase, you're gonna be doing very good. And then you want to spend your pools for the next meta, and they're gonna be doing very good. The thing is, yep, sorry.
Are people pulling for meta just for Memory of Chaos? Or do you think there are some people who are like, hang on, there's more than one game mode here. You've got Memory of Chaos, you've got Pure Fiction, who'd want to pull different characters for, right? Like, ain't no one is pulling a Jade for Memory of Chaos, really, right? They're going to pull them like Pure Fiction or something. Like, do you think that people are just pulling for MOC and they're not really considering, like, the other game modes as much
I would
to
say,
build
like,
metas around?
MOC
Like, doesn't
has
that
always
matter
been like
or
the
factor into it?
No, it's like it has always been like the main focal point because the other 2 game modes they are objectively a lot easier. Like Pure Vision, there has been like the highest amount of 3 stars coming to ending because they made it like super easy. And Apex Shadows is basically just checking if you can break the team fast enough. So by the data of ownership, almost the highest ownership team in Honkai Star Rail right now is Super Break. Because Super Break is like super casual friendly, right? Harmony MC is free, Ranmei is there. So that it's a super
Sure.
almost everybody at Super Break. So
You
that
could use the
basically
same
means
teams. That's fine. I'm not arguing that, right? Like, you could use MOC teams into whatever. But like a lot of people say that Pure Fiction they do find harder sometimes than Memory of Chaos. Is that because Pure Fiction caters to a different kind of not meta necessarily, but a different kind of playstyle that would require you to pull a character that like a free to play or a casual wouldn't consider initially pulling for?
no. Pure Fiction is definitely easier. Nobody would just think, okay, I'm gonna need to pull Jade just for Pure Fiction.
But doesn't that depend on the account that the person has and if they have been following certain metas or not? You still need to pull for that. You still need to have the right characters, right?
Yeah, okay, like it basically just boils right down to when you first start playing a game, like if you are just starting out the game, you would only focus on building this team, like this one team, as strong as you can. It has been the same since version 1, it will be the same for version 3. Build this one team as strong as possible, and this team will basically help you clear all this kind of stuff when you slowly start to, invest in the second team, right? And then you have 2 teams, and then you just go ahead and clear everything. No, I don't think players would specifically just pull for Jade because oh shit, my this team sucks as I can't clear Pure Fusion because Pure Fusion so far has been pretty easy for now, right? Maybe Pure Fusion gets more difficult next time, but for now Pure Fusion is very, very accessible. Yeah.
But do you not think
can I-
that people would do that though? Like the average player would be like, "Oh, this character's
I mean,
made
sure,
for
they,
this
they
thing,
can
should."
pull
Sure,
that, but then
right.
they probably wouldn't be too smart then. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
Can I-
just using this as a point to kind of add to like that's just another thing that kind of devs do to kind of initiate that. Hey, maybe there's another thing you should pull a character for. Just like just want to add
I
that
mean,
to the mix. That's all.
I kind of saw Pure Fiction as like, hey, there's a bunch of characters not being used, and now here's an opportunity to like use some of those characters personally. But I want to go back, if I can jump back for a second here, because Mr. Pokke, I think you kind of still like jumped over something when I was saying like, you were saying like, oh, well, if somebody didn't really pull a bunch since 1.0 and they're struggling with Memory of Chaos now, well, then they're gonna have a bunch of pulls saved going into the next one. Like the problem there is like you're still saying, well, then to solve it, just chase the meta. And I'm saying like that is like a different of an expectation of players than what was like previously established in the game. And for me personally, why like power creep has become the problem that it has become is because players didn't used to have to chase the meta to clear the content. And personally, I just don't agree with the argument that like without chasing the meta that you're going to be able to like easily clear the content
Okay,
or
sorry.
be able to keep up with it.
I
Like,
know
you
exactly
gotta
what I'm
chase
talking
it.
about. Yeah, okay, I know exactly. Okay, the reason why I say I'm not asking people to chase the meta is because I'm just asking people to upgrade their teams. And I think that is fundamentally super different from chasing the meta. The meta for like, let's just say Memory of Chaos is basically whatever units can make the best use of the elements as well as the buffs. But the thing is, you don't need to chase the best unit. Like, you don't need D-Herta to clear Memory of Chaos, even though technically Herta or like average unit, that's the meta, right? It's tailor-made for average units. But the thing is, as long as you upgrade your team, you are still well within your rights to clear all these endgame content without chasing the meta. Because you have to spend a strategy somewhere, unless you just decide to just not pull anything. And that wouldn't have to do with not chasing meta. It just means you don't want to upgrade, like, period, for some weird reason, like a no pull account. And I think that's like a very, very, very small minority of people. So yeah.
Yeah, but at that point, then like what you become reliant on is like RNG, because then to continue to vertically invest in those teams and to keep those characters relevant, like you're talking about like constantly rolling on the same artifacts for the same characters, when really the easy solution is just to chase the meta. You don't even need to have the best artifacts, and then you're still gonna get the easy clear. Like I just think like that's the issue of like power
right
there.
It's easy to chase meta, but for a free to play, they can't keep doing this forever. Which is why this whole point goes back to the greeding. Because if a free to play is always greedy for the easy way out, they are looking for the best and easy way to chase meta, it's gonna lead to a point where their account will constantly have these different teams, but none of them are properly invested. Because it used to be like super, super strong, and then now it's like, oh shit, all these E0 Air0 units, you know, I have like DOT, I have Scylla, I have Jingliu, I have Acheron, but like I don't have any of these proper backbone to make them like even better. Which is why chasing meta is inherently not good for players who are trying to think in the long term. Right? It's easy in the short term, right? Yep.
So I don't mean chasing meta as in like always pulling the next unit that's going to drop. Like I know some people are like thinking that I'm saying that, and so they're saying like, no, that's still just greedy. I'm saying like, no, somebody needs to chase the meta of like, okay, break is the current archetype for the meta, so I need to make sure I'm pulling the perfect super break support units, and then I'm pulling a super break DPS because super break is what is the easiest right now for being able to clear the content. And so they're not like, even if so now they're pulling smart, but to pull smart you have to chase the meta. Like that, like, is there another solution for pulling smart that's not chasing the meta?
I was about to ask that.
Sorry,
yeah,
Ethan?
No, I was about to ask that same thing. Like I get what you're saying, but then when we spoke earlier and you're clarifying pulling smart, well, like Connor just said, what is pulling smart? Because you said you would go for what's her face Fuse or whatever the new character in 3.0 is. Well, you have to get those meta units to make that character synergize in a point where they can clear the content at a realistically well rate. So what is pulling smart if it's not just meta? Are you defining pulling smart as saying, let's say, I forget Sealy, locking down Black Swan and Kafka, because that's a 1.0 character, and then just only focusing around DOT? Because if that's the case, then I get it. I think maybe there was a misunderstanding of what you said by pulling smart. But the way I've interpreted by you're saying pulling smart and all the conversations we've had is, hey, pull for the meta, and if you're not pulling for the meta, you're stupid. That's how I think a lot of people have interpreted it. So I think, clarifying you would be really good.
You are stupid if you only chase the
Chat,
meta.
clip it. He just called me stupid.
And you
clip it. Sorry.
And there it is.
What a jerk. There it is. Eastern CC calls Western CC stupid, boys. It is. Yeah, no, okay,
Clip
it.
Oh my god, use it as an intro for the
God.
video. That's right now I get fucking 500,000 this guy's good. Oh yeah, but like
no, yeah. I want to hear. I want to
do
hear.
believe
Yeah.
that there's nothing wrong with changing the background because you have to pick on one team, right? Like at
Yeah.
that current given point in time, like the moment we start the game, there is a team that is like super, super good. Like your very, very first team when you first play a Stario, whether it be it like you start on Acheron, are you gonna start on Herta, are you gonna start on Zilla? That one team at that point of time would be the meta. So it would be the right choice to use the meta team in order to give you the path of least resistance, right? It's the easiest way at the start. But it becomes a problem and it makes you stupid if you keep chasing this other team comps just for the sake that their banners got boosted. So you build like your team and then you just gave up. You stop using the team and then use another team and then another team, and then you just keep changing and changing. That will make, first of all, it's not feasible because free to play won't have enough currency. And then second of all, if you do that, then your entire structure would be basically a chasing meta structure. And that is a bad thing to do because the original point of this whole thing is, what is the purpose of chasing meta just to have an easier endgame clear? When in reality, even if you don't clear endgame, you are missing like barely anything.
Yeah, like 80 Jades. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you shouldn't
exactly.
be pulling for the sake of clearing endgame content. You should be pulling for the sake of, okay, I want to build this team. This team is very good right now, but this is the team that I've settled with. And then this team is going to do it next time. Even if the next time, this team is not meta anymore, if the Herta is not meta, if Acheron is not meta, if it's not, I will still use this team because I've spent a shit ton of Stellar Jades building this team. And the problem begins when they give up and they go for the next thing. And then the cycle just kind of keeps repeating itself, which makes their account more bricked. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then, and just before I give a rebuttal, or not even rebuttal, just a thought again, your is pick a team, lock it down. Don't just give it up because a new shiny toy came out and you saw you do it 1 million damage in a YouTube video, right? I feel like that's a really bare bones summary of that, right? Don't go for the shiny toy. Lock down your team. Right? Is that the point? Because I feel like a lot of people on Twitter and in this call and just a lot of content creators didn't understand that point. So I'm happy you clarified that. So then
Yippee.
Yeah. So then I just think though the person who locked down that team, right? Let's say they are still an endgame player and they're still having that skill issue. I think a big part of that though can still be related to power creep. That I think is just a point. And now obviously you could say, haha, skill issue, go fuck yourself, whatever, which is fine. But it is not 100% like plausible to say, well, since you didn't clear with Acheron and I did it, I'm not saying you, but let's say a chatter said it or I did it, so you just fucking suck. Like there is still that underlying issue of power creep intruding. I'm not even just saying HP inflation, right? There could be tons of other ways that power creep is introduced. That's my point. So I don't think it's necessarily again, greedy, stupid if you're trying to roll for everything, but I don't think it's fair to say, you're just dumb if power creep is really affecting your ways and if you have a skill issue. Not everyone is going to know speed tuning. Not everybody's going to know the depths of the game and how it works like that. So that is just the point that I think is taken out of context and that people are honing in on. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I do feel that this thing, whether I can clear and you can't clear, and then you resort to chasing meta, it really goes back down into why you pick this team to begin with. Sure, you find it more difficult to clear with Acheron, but the thing is, it's okay though. Alright, I think it's normal that the meta unit is gonna clear faster than Acheron because that's the whole point of pushing them.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
okay,
we agree on that,
exactly.
for sure.
It wouldn't remove power creep, right? Power creep is gonna happen. There's gonna be more meta, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, sure, you can go ahead and chase the meta, which will lead to the problem that I discussed just now. Or if you didn't chase the meta and you continued using Acheron, then that's when you will have two different groups of people, right? The people who can clear and the people who can't clear. So, okay, maybe calling people that can't clear stupid is very, very mean. But the people who can clear with Acheron, they are clearly doing something that the people who can't aren't.
Well,
and that is what splits people, whether or not it's a problem for you.
Yeah, fuck calling them stupid. Again, I'll call them stupid with you. I don't give a fuck about that. But I just think that, again, they're dumb. Like, I'm not trying to police the wording. That's not what I'm trying to drive home at all. But I'm just trying to drive home at all that power creep is still affecting the end game. Just because the top 1% can use those teams efficiently does not mean that it's not effective. Like, I do woo-woo clears. Like, last night I was doing a bunch of fucking woo-woo clears. I do it all the time. People have endgame accounts, and they are endgame players, but they just can't clear it. And the reason why they can't clear this new tower is the new tower is fucking buns, and they're introducing ways to make it harder. Artificial difficulty, artificial power creep, right? And so I think it's fair to say that that still exists in the game, and it's not like a blanket
power
statement.
creep exists. I'm not debating that. Like from
Yeah.
the start, yep, power creep exists. Correct. But whether or not it's a problem for you, it depends on the player, which is the point of my tweet.
Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. I do.
Yippee.
I just think that it's like, I think we were looking at it in two different frames, to be honest with you, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look,
Put,
I gotta
put the W
I gotta
down. Put the
dip.
W down. I don't take it out.
Okay. I did. Okay. I didn't get wrapped up. We have been calling about 2 hours.
No,
Yeah,
I gotta
for
go.
sure.
So
For
Tell
sure.
I won easy 1v4.
Yeah,
no.
Pokke called me
Yep.
stupid. Pokke called me stupid. We got the clip.
What a classic Eastern CC take. I'm like,
Yeah.
gosh, can't even believe
I'll be-
it. Jeez.
If me and Cap clear MLC will be promoted to Eastern CC by the end of the day, I'm gonna get on it right now. I want my promotion.
I ordered my way to 12, and then I tried to auto, and then it didn't work. So I'm like, okay, bet I'm going to leave
Yeah.
the game now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well,
right.
anyway, I think Power Creep is happening too fast. It was nice meeting you, Mr. Pokey. This is the first time we've actually
It is
talked.
great.
So peace
Yeah,
out.
same.
Peace, chat.
All right. Peace.
All right, boys.
Peace.
Enjoy
All right, yo.
07. Good night, y'all.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Yeah, boys. That's the conversation. So, yeah.